Okay, yeah.
over
And
a
I
number
think
of
that's
guys.
fair, yeah.
Like, to me, he's not top 12.
No, she's like 14,
That's crazy.
15. And, you'd have to be in a desperate situation is where I see it. But
I
agree
with that.
I was just like, I've got him on my bench. And Yahoo's got him with 25 points and Garoppolo with 20. Which,
I disagree.
I do too. Yahoo's Yahoo. And so I obviously I haven't changed it or anything. But I'm looking at it going, well,
enticing.
shit, am I crazy? Not it's enticing, but am I crazy? Like,
Yeah,
do I have the
ESPN
wrong
too,
thought
like,
process
ESPN
going
has
on?
him, projected to score more points than Dak.
Right.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, they have some weird predictions
What
on
are
there,
you
that's for
talking
sure.
about?
I want to get that gig. I want to predict the
I know,
points
right?
every week. Yeah.
You know what?
Let me pull this number
what I
up my
noticed
butt.
this week, too, is so on ESPN, I have eight leagues. One of them is 7-5, and the rest of them have a better record than that. I have 4 teams, 3 9-3 teams, and 1 10-2 team.
Mm-hmm.
On Yahoo, I have my team that's 8-4, and then I have 2 teams that are 7-5, and every other team is 6-6 or worse.
Oh, wow. Wow, you had a bad couple of weeks then.
Well, it's
'Cause-
because here's what it is. What I think it is. My ESPN teams are deeper. They're all these are 10-team leagues. They're the points, the scoring changes.
What's up, Mr. Bay?
varies
Yeah, we're live.
League to
Oh,
league.
hey.
How you doing today?
Oh, what's up, everybody? I don't even have my.
Yeah.
Sitting here with
Ray always sneaks up on us. We never know when we're going live.
Hey, and you know what? You guys wouldn't have known right away unless somebody had came in and just
So-
made a comment.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have known. So,
Ask any questions you have, by the way.
the scoring varies between half point and full point, and 4 point for passing touchdown and 6 point for passing touchdown. But and I don't think that actually matters that much. I think the biggest difference is that on ESPN preseason, the rankings were much different. There were a lot more value plays that you could make in ESPN drafts if everybody was just drafting based on the queue,
Right.
than on Yahoo. Yahoo was much better about putting the actual good players towards the top.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Mr. Bay, did you like Lurk? Because the name seems familiar, but I can't recall too many conversations.
Who?
This person is asking me questions.
We got-
Mr. Bay is asking me questions.
Our guy on already.
He said he used to watch me for hours on end back in the day.
Well, yeah, but he didn't say that you were online at the time. Maybe he was just wait.
Oh man.
I know. Should we? We're gonna kick off with a Homer minute.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Alright.
Played Apex a lot.
You want to start? You want me to?
I
wanna go?
can go quick because I don't think I need a minute. I think,
We're packing it in, folks.
and I had the thought. I think with Aaron Donald out, possibly for. I think they might just.
They're
sit
just
a-
shutting people down.
Yeah, they're just
because Matt Stafford cleared the concussion protocol, but they're still not going to play him this weekend, and it's still like
I think he's got a sore neck or
it's
maybe a
they
bunion
don't-
or something.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Well, why if you're not going to make the playoffs?
No, I
you know?
completely agree with the decision.
It's like if-
I'm not arguing. And if
shut
I'm
it-
a Rams
shut it
fan, I'm
down.
like, good job. You know what I mean? If I'm a Rams
At least
fan,
our,
I'm not
our
mad.
at least our picks in rounds 4 through 7 will be really good. And other teams are going to be super happy with you guys.
Yeah, and I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at the water cooler a lot.
All those Rams picks are hot.
At least you guys are up on the.
And you know what? Honestly, if you think about it, you guys are socioeconomically just superior to everybody because like you did the thing where you got your goods and now you're giving back.
There you go.
Because how often does that happen where a team makes these deals, where they send away their picks and pick up a superstar. And it's like, yeah, okay, you send away your first round draft pick, and it's gonna be like a number 30 pick for the next 3 or 4 years or whatever. It's like, well, not necessarily. With the
You never know.
like any of the teams that got the Rams picks in 2023, 2024, probably like, yes.
That's basically it. We'll see what happens next year. We'll see what Bryce Perkins
Kyron
does.
Williams, right?
I did pick him up. No, it's a little sneak peek to DraftKings. I did pick him up on my DraftKings lineup because he's going to be getting a lot of the work. So yeah,
Honestly, I like what your team's doing in that they're shutting down their stars and they're seeing what they have in the rest and looking to next year. I think it's. I mean, I wish more. Like if my team was in that situation, I wish they would do that too. But my team, Tomlin wants that with that winning record. Too bad.
you certainly have to. And Sean
Priorities,
McVay
baby.
is pretty good at testing things sometimes. You know what I mean? But it's just unfortunate it took this for him to get away from pass the ball to Cooper Kupp, pass the ball to Cooper Kupp, pass the ball to Cooper Kupp. You know, so,
Yes, that is frustrating, isn't it? Because like you get to a point where it's like, we actually have some more talent on the team. You know, some of these guys maybe could have contributed while Cooper Kupp was still helping and before everything fell apart. But anyway, I wouldn't be too excited about watching the final 6 games either.
Yeah, like I say, if you're a fan, it's still worth watching because it's fun to see who's developing and what's going on. But yeah, I
Well,
mean,
from a fantasy perspective, it's fun to
to
start
the
players
defense
against the Rams
them,
now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for the last several years, the Rams have been a team that you're like, oh, my guys are playing against the Rams this week. It's
gonna hurt.
Downgrade, and now it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
we're playing against the Rams this weekend.
Well, it's more like what
Start
defense is
everybody
playing against the Rams.
No,
but-
not if Aaron Donald's out.
No, like what defense is starting against.
I
the Rams.
know,
Like,
but
that's-
not just that. If Aaron
yeah.
Donald's out, Donald's out, it's just open season.
yeah. No, it is.
and I picked a running back against
So
the Rams.
Ken Walker
in one of
to
my
the moon.
DraftKings, I think. Might have
Oh,
been.
one of your lineups.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken Walker this weekend.
Yeah, he's definitely dude. It seems like we say that every weekend. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but the
Ken
last couple weeks
Walker is-
hasn't been great.
And
The
he's been
touchdown
going up-
saved him last week,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the last 2 weeks he has not been great.
yardage wise, you're right.
Yeah.
But he keeps getting those
But
touchdowns. He keeps
Seattle
getting
as
the
a
touches.
team has hit the wall a little bit.
Agreed.
And he's going. I think he went up in price too. Walker did. I think this week. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
He's about
I think.
7,000. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, but has he?
He's been right around that.
Has
the
he?
last couple
Okay.
weeks.
Yeah, I think this 7 might be his highest, but I think he was like 69 last
Yes.
week or something. So yeah. Let's see, Steelers. We got a win last week.
Yay!
Tore up the Saints. That was nice.
Colts, it was the Colts, buddy.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Sorry. Wrong week. But yeah, the Colts did not put up much of a fight. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Basically, it comes down to Pickett and Pickens and these guys and how they're developing and what's going on. Our defense is starting to play well again. We have some secondary issues still, but people are healing. And, next year our defense is going to be amazing again.
We'll get
And,
next year.
And our weapons are developing. Kenny Pickett definitely looked a lot better this week, I think. Had, no interceptions. Yay. But not just that. It looked like he was doing the right things at the right time and, taking baby steps forward. So definitely better than he looked 4 or 5 weeks ago.
You don't think you got saved by Jeff Saturday's bad decision making at the end of the game?
At the end of the game?
Yeah,
No, I mean,
like when Matt Ryan made that scramble, and they go from the 2nd and 14 to like 3rd and 3, and they get up there and they just let the clock run. They let like 30 seconds run off the clock, and then run a draw play to Jonathan Taylor, then call a timeout. Hold on, let's not call a timeout yet. Let's let 30 seconds run off the clock, then we'll let Jonathan Taylor fall down, then we'll call timeout.
yeah. That was helpful. I don't think that was necessary. I think we were winning the game either way, but yes,
they were at the 20-yard line with like a minute to go. Like they call a time. They had all 3 of their timeouts there. They call a timeout there. They get a good play in, and even if they don't get it on 3rd down, you compose yourself and you get a couple of plays that you like right then and there, rather than just the one, because they ran one play and it was like the play was there. If I remember correctly, he just dropped the ball. I can't remember who he threw it to. If it was one of those gigantic tight ends that the Colts have.
right.
That was the biggest takeaway from that game for me, by the way, was Jelani Woods with like 8 catches. Like, I don't know if you saw that, if you noticed that. Jelani
it's
Woods
not.
he had
Yeah.
8 catches in the game. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, why?
I don't know, but it was really funny considering Juan just needed one catch from Paris Campbell.
That's why you noticed.
Oh man, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand that at that point. Like I was just I'm going. You know, I'm just casually watching the game. I'm like, oh, okay, timeout. Oh, they're not going to call a timeout. Oh, that was bad. Like that. He's
Right.
like
Yeah.
just my immediate takeaway is he's going to get killed for that. Like you're watching that live and you're like, they're definitely going to bring that up after the game is over.
Of course. This is his first time doing it. He's going to make mistakes. I mean, he's doing it mid-season. Like, he got thrown into the fire, man.
I don't understand how anybody makes that mistake. I don't get it.
I hear you. It's a big one. Don't get me wrong.
That's why you should hire real coaches. Sorry, Jeff.
He is a real coach.
All right,
real
so how are
boy.
your Cowboys doing?
They are doing exactly the same as the last time we spoke because they haven't played a game since then.
Oh yeah. So how do you? Well, you're playing.
Still
against the
feeling
Colts,
great.
so-
Nothing's changed on the OBJ front. He's still like flirting with a bunch of teams before he, decides to shack up with the Cowboys, which is probably going to happen.
Do you want him on your team?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of OBJ.
Yeah.
I am not blind to his talent though,
Right.
and like he definitely did help the Rams last year.
It's true.
So I think he could help.
But there's also a decent chance that he goes in and kind of blows up the team a little bit, too.
I don't think so.
Does crazy antics.
I think it's more likely that he gets beat up by Micah Parsons in the locker room.
What did he get thrown off the plane for? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. I didn't read about it. But the reason I didn't read about it is because the Cowboys seem to just not care.
Right.
Like the response out of Dallas was that it's not
Immediately. Yeah, like,
not
who
a big
cares?
deal. Like, we're still pursuing him.
But to me, like, that just shows
He
this
always
guy
does
is
dumb
chaos.
stuff. He
Yeah.
is. Oh yeah. But he belongs in Dallas.
Speaking, what happened with Antonio Brown this week? I heard something, but I didn't really see any
Every
headlines.
week with Antonio Brown and
Something about a standoff with police. Like, seriously,
in Tampa, yeah.
Is that what happened?
In Tampa? So that's the hilarious thing to me because that was what I asked was like, where did that happen? And then whoever it was that was telling me about it was reading it in Tampa. Like, so you're kidding me, right? Like, so he just like walked out of the game, caught an Uber to his house, and just like didn't go anywhere afterwards. You know?
He's been there ever
like,
since.
He's been in Tampa ever since. But some of the things that he tweets would lead you to believe that he would rather still be playing football for the Buccaneers than doing anything else, because he'll talk about how bad they're doing, about how they haven't replaced him, which is true. Like if they had Antonio Brown doing Antonio Brown stuff on their team, they'd be a lot better.
Probably. Yeah, depending on how much of a distraction he's going to be this time.
Depending on if he's wearing his pads or not.
Huh?
If he's
whether he's under arrest or not.
yeah, he's sticking into the game.
Come on, I'm gonna start drinking beer. I want to pour it in a glass.
Right on.
Thank you, sir.
See, did we have any bets?
So
last week?
we did.
You guys
see.
usually.
Oh my God! You're gonna drink twice for Kamara right now. I totally forgot about that. You bet on Kamara over Connor and Montgomery. You got crushed.
Montgomery had a good week too. I know Connor did.
Oh yeah, Montgomery did too.
Can I do my Robinson Bomar right now?
You might as well.
He's out for the season, so
He's done.
Okay, I'll erase
shut
it if you
down.
want to do it.
And
Yeah, I'll
actually,
do it.
you
I'll do
should
it right
too.
now.
What's that?
You should take yours too, because OBJ is
which
definitely going to score more points than Robinson did this year. We have
gotta
the
get in
season-long OBJ versus Robinson. I have OBJ. You have Allen Robinson. That's the bet from like January, back from when this is before.
he may not land a team.
This is
I wouldn't do it.
Allen Robinson was not a Ram at the time, and OBJ
Doesn't Robinson
was.
have like 3 touchdowns?
That's what I'm saying. It was a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
OBJ
I
hasn't.
took you serious too.
I was like, what's he talking about?
OBJ hasn't scored yet, but he will definitely
What
score
does he
more.
know that I don't?
he might not even land a team.
He will score. He's going to be in Dallas, and he will probably score more fantasy points over the course of the rest of the season than Allen Robinson scored this season.
I wouldn't make that bet.
Let me look. Let me look
But
at that.
touchdowns
When
are a
do you
funny
expect
thing.
him to play his first game?
And how healthy is he going to be? You know,
You
those
know,
are big questions.
We're already in
So,
December.
so if he plays in week 15, and that would be my expectation that he plays in week 15. So that's 4 games: 15, 16, 17, 18. He would have to score 85 points.
and get 3 touchdowns. All right, cool.
So it took him 3 games to get acclimated to the Rams last season. I'm not saying it would take him just as long, but that's that
Well,
last
and he's
season.
coming off injury now too. So
He was last year too.
was he? What kind of injury was it?
ACL.
Say, oh,
It was the same.
same side, or
Same knee.
Supposedly it wasn't fixed right the first time.
Okay.
He was in Cleveland when it got fixed, and lots of things don't get fixed in Cleveland. So.
Yeah.
No, I don't know where he had his surgery done because that doesn't mean anything.
Oh, KC versus Jets. Who scored there?
What was that? The defense?
Pass that Bomar bottle.
Oh yeah.
Might as well just fucking do it. Pay up.
Enjoy,
I hate
sir.
to pay up all this stuff, one night.
All in one night. Yeah.
Wait, we bet on that? That is weird. That's a weird bet.
I think that was preseason, man. We make weird bets preseason.
No, this was those top 2. I'm talking about the top 2.
Oh,
The KC versus New York Jets defense. That's the weird one.
yeah. That was a little more whimsical, I think. We weren't super serious about that one, but yeah, it makes it harder to look up here.
So Kansas City probably won that one because they were worth 50. They scored a touchdown last week, I think. No, but they had
They had some points, but
it was 15.
all right. So IO2 and UO1. Man, Kamara. Come on, man. He's been doing that to me a lot this year. That New Orleans offense just woofers. Not so good. And
Montgomery was 14.5 points. Connor was 20 last week.
and Kamara was like 7 or
7.
8. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, here's one.
Here's to you, buddy.
Yep. Thank you.
He said, "Here's one."
Load me up.
Uh-oh. It's going to have to be Don Julio for you, sir.
Oh,
All right, so shall we break into the games?
As soon as I get loaded up here, let me see that Bowmore and let me have a beer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. You need a Bowmore.
He's been asking for it, man.
I'm
You haven't
sorry.
been
I'm
passing
sorry.
it.
I was looking up stats.
Can this stuff be lit on fire?
I don't know.
No.
What's the proof to light on fire?
90?
45. Oh, proof 90. Yeah.
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 So we can light the maker's mark on fire if we want.
And the pirate and the stolen rum that we have up there. Or I have up there. To paying up, huh?
No?
Give me this one,
To
George.
paying our bets.
Yeah.
Paying the dues.
Woo, baby. That's how we solve arguments around here. We make shot bets. And the following week.
And everybody
we get
feels good afterwards.
Yep.
There are no losers.
There you go.
That tastes like gasoline.
Except for Ray.
I forgot the Bowmore bet is a loser. Ooh, I hope I don't have to taste that again. I really do.
I have the aftertaste of tire in my mouth.
All right, let me erase those bets.
Yeah, the Robinson. The Robinson, the top 2, and then the Robinson 10 TDs one can go away.
First game up is Falcons.
That's McLaurin versus Garrett Wilson for a Bowmore is going to be so close.
That is going to be close.
Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson's about to go off.
Dude, and I've got Garrett Wilson in a couple of places, so I don't know who I'm rooting for anymore on that bet.
I have him everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Poor Bowmore. It's the punishment alcohol.
It's so bad. So bad. It's so expensive and so bad.
Somebody pass me a beer.
Oh yeah.
Let me get started. All right, first up. No, wait, I got to pull the timer up. Do 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 do. First up, let's do it. Oh, let me switch this.
Do it.
YouTube. There we go. All right. First up, we have Pittsburgh at Atlanta Falcons. Pittsburgh at +1, over under at 43. With if you're betting on the Steelers, -115, and if you're betting on the Falcons, -105.
So basically a pick 'em here, which makes sense for the records and whatnot. But I think this, and obviously I'm a homer, but I think the Steelers have a really good chance of winning this game. I'd put us at 70-75%.
I expect the Steelers to win this game too.
I just think we have a better team, and we're coming together right now where the Falcons are just kind of like, well, what's going to happen next year?
Yeah, they're just kind of, trying things right now. There's not a whole lot exciting that's coming out of Atlanta the last few weeks. They shut Kyle Pitts down this week. So, yay, Drake London, maybe? No, I don't.
No, I
so.
wouldn't.
I'm still. I really wanted Drake London to happen this year, and I still really like him. And I think that because he's had such a mediocre rookie season, and they were willing to stick with Mariota the whole year, maybe he's somebody you could buy low on in Dynasty.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try for sure this offseason because I like him. And as soon as
he's shown talent.
And I think as soon as Atlanta makes a quarterback change, he'll be really hard to get in Dynasty because he's a really talented player. But and then on the other side you got George Pickens. So I think that's the thing that I'm watching in this game most is George Pickens and Drake London, just seeing what they do on offense on either side.
But the funny thing is, you're not starting either one in fantasy.
No, you're not. You should. Well, maybe Pickens.
I mean, you can start Pickens in your flex if you need to.
In full PPR,
but
Pickens has I think 4 straight games of 10+ points. So,
not last week. I think last week.
I think he was right at 10.
Okay.
He was right at 10 last week.
So and he is the main target for Pickett. So I mean, you can always start Pickens.
Atlanta's also weak against receivers. So I think this is if you're going to start him, if you've been waiting to start him and you've been I don't know. Let's see who
you're not starting him over a lot of people though.
Who would I start him over this week? Let's see.
Zay Jones.
I would not start him over Zay Jones.
Well, see that says a lot right there.
Well, Zay Jones has been balling lately.
Okay.
So let's see. It's funny. Brandon Cooks isn't going to play, but I would start him over Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We just said he was the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying. There's probably a lot of people that have been starting Deontay Johnson this year.
I almost dropped Deontay Johnson this week for a spare quarterback.
Jamar Chase is back, so I'd start him over Tyler Boyd. Let's see, who else would I start him over? I'd start him over the Packers guys.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So he's right in that range. You can get there if you need to. Hopefully you don't.
I think he's top 30. 36 at least.
Okay,
yeah. He's right in that range.
Yeah, you're going to rank him, 28 to 36.
Somewhere, yeah.
You're hoping not to start one of those guys.
If you're starting 3 receivers in a flex, it's hard not to start him. You're in a good spot if you're not starting him.
So on the Steelers, I do think you want to start the Muth this week. I wore my shirt because I think the Muth is going to get loose this week.
I agree with that too.
I think he's going to have a very good week. Fit him in your lineup if you can.
What do you think about Najee Harris?
Well, he's listed as healthy now.
Says he's going to play.
No, he's listed as healthy.
Yeah.
He's got no questionable tag now, so he is going to play. And
makes me happy because my opponent this week in our league picked up Jaylen Warren. And Jaylen Warren all of a sudden went questionable. Mm-hmm. So I don't think, and late in the week, I don't think Warren's going to play. I think Najee is going to play. He's going to get most of the work. I agree.
And then Snell or McFarland might get a few carries, but who cares? Don't you dare start them.
Yeah, no. But you can. I think you can start Najee.
You definitely can start Najee.
So I think in this game, I'm looking to start Najee. I'm looking to start Freiermuth. I might be looking. I think it's hard for me not to start Pickens in this game. That's how I kind of feel about it. I'm more on the. I'll feel bad if I don't start him.
You feel slightly better about him than I do, and I feel good about that. Thank you.
And
I like that confidence.
And I love the Pittsburgh defense this week. Mariota has the problem turning the ball over under pressure.
Yes. Pittsburgh D is a very good play this week, especially DFS.
So anybody going Falcons?
Heck no.
Not on this show.
Next up, we have the Broncos at the Ravens. The Broncos at plus 9.5. The over-under at 39.5. If you're betting on the Broncos, you're at plus 330. And if you're betting on the Ravens, minus 410.
The Ravens are 9.5 point favorites.
That's a mistake.
That seems crazy.
Now,
I would smash the Broncos if I'm playing the line.
I'm so glad that the first thing out of your mouth was the Raven was a question about the Ravens
That's
being
crazy.
a 9.5 point favorite, because the first thing I was going to say is that last week the Ravens did exactly what I said that they had. Like, they proved that they are exactly what I said that I thought they were a few weeks ago, and that's that they're going to play up and down to their competition.
It's funny because I was watching on Red Zone and stuff, and I just kept seeing them falter, and I'm just like,
That's who they are.
Ken's got a point. You know what I mean? It's
That-
funny because I remembered your arguments there, and I was like, he's right. Baltimore really is not going anywhere this year.
It doesn't make any sense, like, because they're too good to lose some of the games that they've lost, and they have no real like impressive wins. They're a 7-4 team with a lot of close victories, and their 4 losses have all been really close.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of think that's who they are. So I wouldn't be I picked the under in this game because their offense has struggled against mediocre defenses.
Exactly.
And Denver's defense is good. The only question, and this is funny because you like to take the emotion out of things and be more calculating about it. And now the Broncos have had an excellent defense so far. But at what point does that break and they just kind of give up a little bit? Because now they're 3-8. They're definitely not going to the playoffs this year. Do the guys on defense start to take a little bit off?
And I don't know. That's a hard thing to say. I personally don't really think so because they are professionals. You saw the defense yelling at Wilson this week.
They are professionals, but how often do you see a team that finishes with 5 or 6 wins with a top 5, top 10 defense? It just those two things don't go together, and there's lots of reasons for that. And it doesn't mean that none of those defenses were talented, but it is hard to continue to go out there and put up dominant performances, because the Broncos defense has put up some dominant performances this year.
I agree.
And they deserve,
and then still lose because
they deserve to be a 6-5 team.
Yeah.
At least.
If their offense could average 19 points,
it's really
what I mean?
It's really bad.
They'd have a nice record.
So that being said, I'm not willing to bet that this is the game that the Broncos defense just gives up and allows the Ravens to score 30 points. I would bet the under on this game. I'm not excited about starting any of the Ravens pieces. Lamar Jackson has come up with a quad injury this week. So it's Mark Andrews and nothing else, really.
Yeah.
And I'm not excited about starting Mark Andrews either.
Exactly.
But
you have to.
You have to. You're not, because you're not pivoting off of Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
But you don't expect it to be one of his 25-point games. That's probably not in the cards.
And then you're never excited to start anybody on Denver. You can start Sutton. Maybe if you're desperate, you start Murray.
The Ravens' defense has been better lately, so you're not even really excited about starting their receivers.
You're not. No, I just say you prefer to avoid the team altogether. That would be your preference. But maybe you start Sutton or Murray in desperation.
And so we're picking the Ravens somehow still. We don't like them by 9.5 points. We down talked the Ravens a lot there.
Yeah.
Because we don't like them by 9.5 points over anybody. I don't. But I still think they're going to win.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think that AFC North division is going to come down to the next Ravens-Bengals matchup.
Yeah.
Next one.
Okay.
Let's move on.
I own you. I still own you.
Next up, we got the Packers against the Bears. Packers are at minus 3.5. The over/under at 45. If you're betting on the Packers, you're at minus 180. If you're betting on the Bears, plus 155.
Justin Fields is going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Fantasy football is alive in this game.
True.
That is basically what that means.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Because the Bears games without Justin Fields, playing at the Justin Fields level that we've come to expect over the last month, not watchable. But with Justin Fields doing his thing, must see TV.
Yeah, especially fantasy wise.
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
just like,
you just turn around. Justin Fields just scored another 15 points. What?
right?
He just broke off a 70-yard touchdown run. So I'm actually like a little excited to watch this game because of Aaron Rodgers and how he's talked so much trash to the Bears.
Yeah.
And like the Bears have a guy now. You know, they can score some points. So I really want to see this game go down to the wire the way that the Bears-Lions game did a few weeks ago.
You know, and something we talked a little bit earlier, but what about Rodgers' injury? Like, what's going on with that?
He says he's been playing through it for a while. The injury that he's complaining about now, he sustained in the Giants game. So I'm not worried about it at all.
No,
you
there was
know with the
something
punctured
that
lung?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it was the rib thing. Yeah.
So apparently that was a precautious thing. My understanding of the situation is they took him to the locker room. They took X-rays. The X-rays were negative. However, Aaron Rodgers was short of breath. He was struggling to breathe, and he was apprehensive about going back into the football game because of his knowledge of the medical process, and that he knows that now. And this makes sense, like that a preliminary X-ray that happens immediately after an injury isn't always going to tell you what you need because there could be swelling in the way of things. So like getting the X-ray, then getting the MRI, and then possibly getting another X-ray, afterwards. That's common for, if you really think you broke a bone. My understanding though is that he went through all of that this week and there's no extra damage there. But it was, for him, it was like a kind of an emotional response because he recalled a 2015 playoff game where Randall Cobb took a shot and he got X-rays and they were negative, but it turned out he had punctured his lung and they didn't find out until afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that was definitely in his mind when he was deciding whether or not he was going to go back into the game.
And so now he's bruised ribs, I guess, would be the diagnosis at this point.
Yeah.
He's got that thumb injury, which is causing him some issues. So I'm not
But
saying
he's still putting up decent numbers.
yes,
every
and
season.
he has been.
Yeah. He hasn't had any monster games. And like, if you were going to bet
do you
on
think
one,
this is going to be a
if
monster game?
If he was only going to have one all year long, I would bet that this is it. Because it's like Aaron Rodgers, and if you think this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' last season, like he would want to put it on the Bears one more time.
So off the top of your head, like what number quarterback do you think he would be this week in your internal rankings? You know what I mean? Just off the cuff.
I can't see him being outside my top 12.
Okay, and I'd agree he'd be in my top 12 too, but he'd be probably my 10, 11, or 12.
Like I'd rather start him this week than like Tua.
Ooh,
I'm starting to.
that's spicy. Yeah,
Tua's playing at the 49ers.
I think I'd rather
and
I'd play Tua.
And I've watched.
Oh, can I put that one on the board?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers versus Tua
Yes,
this week.
yes.
Yeah, I love that
love
I'm
it.
betting on Aaron Rodgers on a weekly basis now. This is fun for me because he's failing. So, I'm not even upset. It's like either I win the bet or Aaron Rodgers fails.
So are you going Packers then?
I am gonna pick the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is gonna play. Aaron Jones is gonna play.
I'll take the pack.
We'll take one more time for Aaron Rodgers to own the Bears.
Oh, Ray, you like Chicago there?
He has done this a couple of times this season, and he's been right. He's picked the Bears at home twice this year. He picked them over the 49ers to start week 1.
Yeah, and I do have a buddy at work that does pretty well betting sports, and he says divisional game at home dog, take them every time.
So next up we have, which is my tournament pick of the week, Jacksonville versus Detroit. Jacksonville +1, over under at 51. If you're betting on the Jags, -110. And if you're betting on the Lions, -110.
Yeah, this is the fun game of the weekend. This is
Here's what I have to say. Woohoo!
This is my
We're gonna
turn-
have some fun.
my tournament game.
Yeah, no, this looks like an offensive game. The tricky part is this might be one team dominating another, and it might just and one
You
thing
think
might
so?
say no, I don't think so. I'm saying there's a lot of chances here. Like there's a lot of things that can happen in this game. We've got two bad teams, so you always have to be cautious.
I don't agree with that statement.
That these 2 4-7 teams aren't bad.
This is to me. This is the best game that we've talked about so far.
Oh, this is gonna be the most fun game.
No. But I mean, this is like this to me. This is the most even game that we've talked about so far too. Like, amongst,
Okay.
To me, they're both teams are 4-7.
Yes,
They're not going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Probably not making the playoffs this year.
but both playing hard still is what you're saying.
And showing signs, really good signs. Like for the Lions, they're showing signs that they're going to play defense next year. And for the Jaguars, they're showing signs that they actually did get it right at quarterback.
Yeah, and both of these teams are. I feel, and the Steelers are all kind of doing the same thing, where they're really putting things on the line for next year.
Now I feel like teams like the Steelers and the Falcons and the Bears are a step behind the Lions and the Jaguars.
Wow.
That's how I feel because
I'd like to bet on that, but that's a really long bet.
To me, the Lions and the well, okay. Well, let's see. How do we
you're
do
talking
that?
years long.
Well, we talking next year, well, or we can just say like it could just be like open ended. Like I think personally,
Like that's a 2 to 3 year bet. So I mean, anyway.
yeah, I would bet on the Lions and Jaguars to make the playoffs before the Bears and Falcons for sure.
Oh, well, okay, but you're excluding the Steelers, which is kind of the contentious point for me.
The Steelers are a little different though.
Okay, all right.
The Steelers are a little different because
if you had left the Steelers out of your statement, there would have been no
The
argument.
Steelers didn't go into full teardown mode. They didn't.
Right.
They're reloading.
I like your opinion. I think it's 70-30 on the
I agree.
the good
because
side.
they're so good at so good at rebuilding.
but you're right.
and it's real and it really comes down to Kenny Pickett. Like
Yeah,
if Kenny Pickett takes
absolutely.
a step forward this year, like Trevor Lawrence did,
And if we lose that draft capital and he
so-
doesn't, then it's a huge blow to the organization. So, yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that assessment. I think there's a 70-75% chance that we're on the good side of that. But, yeah, that 20-25% on the other side is definitely there.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pause this because we didn't even talk about this game yet.
Jaguars-
taking a timeout.
the
Yeah.
Jags and the Lions.
Yeah.
All right.
And this is a game we
so,
need to talk about. This is a
important
fun
stuff
one.
to talk about is that DeAndre Swift seems to have gotten his work back.
Yeah.
He had 8 targets last week. Jamal Williams had 0 targets last week. Jamal Williams he's got some sort of a leg injury.
I know. I've been riding Jay Willie all year in one of my leagues, and God,
And
I've
I've been
loving it.
And I have been coasting in a few leagues with DeAndre Swift on my bench.
yeah. Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be
I
able
don't
to turn him on.
The way they're using him. I don't think he's ever going to be what we thought he was going to be at the beginning of the year.
Well, and what we were
But
hoping
he's gonna be
we were
valuable.
hoping for a Kamara-esque guy.
Right. And he's not
Like
that.
you were hoping some CMC where it was going to be 25 touches. We were thinking like 18.
Right.
Give us like 12 carries and 5 catches. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. And now
and-
it's going to be more like 5 carries and
But
7 catches.
I don't think so.
No?
I know. I do think his work is going to go back up. I think
And that's possible.
just been really cautious with him, but I do think that we are going to get that Kamara light workload by the end of the season. Do I think it's going to be this week? I don't know. It could be. It definitely
gonna get more.
It could be this week.
Yeah.
They're at home. The Jaguars are a good target defense, I think.
So what do you think about Jamal Williams? I mean, where you are you starting him over Swift?
Man, I don't have him anywhere, so I haven't had to make decisions on him all year long, and in watching their
I'll
games,
give you a hint. The
there's
decision
been-
has almost always been to start him.
I know, and he's been so flex worthy,
Yeah.
and he's still like a top 15 running back overall, like not
Number one in touchdowns,
not
I
points.
believe.
He's number 1 in the NFL in touchdowns this year.
What
Not just
what league do you
No,
want to go by?
no. Like not talking about running backs. I'm talking about all the NFL. He's number 1
Oh, I
in
see.
touchdowns. Like
Okay.
he has more touchdowns than Kelsey. He has more touchdowns than Devontae Adams. Like he has more touchdowns than Austin Eckler. Like So, but having said that, I've been a non-believer all year.
Oh, dude.
I've been a non-believer all year because his touchdowns have seemed opportunistic to me. They've been more.
But they keep coming.
They do
It's
keep.
crazy.
They do keep coming. I can't deny that they keep happening. It's just
Yeah.
they don't seem repeatable. They like it's if ever anyone has had a season where they scored 12 touchdowns and it was not repeatable, it's this one by Jamal Williams.
And I completely agree. I've had him on in one of my leagues, and he's been saving my butt in the flex position.
You're just
like
laughing. You
kicking
could-
butt.
yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah,
but
'cause-
every single week, I oh God, do I really want to put him in?
And you just do it.
every
You just
week.
hold your nose and
But-
you just do it.
No, because every week I'm trying to put somebody else.
That's
in.
what I'm saying. But you
and I
hold-
eventually
instead-
just go, I have to put him in.
Yes, instead you hold your nose because it stinks. You hold your
Yep.
nose and you put Jamal Williams in, and it works.
Yep. And it has been all year. And so right here, this week, do I put him in? Right now, he's in my lineup.
I would still do it. Like if
Yeah.
so, here's what I would say about that because I haven't been making that decision. Is that I would make the Lions show me that they're going to go away from Jamal Williams, but before I would just try and guess that this is the week it's not going to work.
Right. Because even before
because
Swift
it's been
got
working.
hurt, Jamal Williams was getting 12,
agreed.
14 carries.
I agree, but he was paying off with touchdowns at first.
No, but I'm just saying he was getting the workload still. He was getting more touches.
So, and on the other side, Travis Etienne is supposed to be
Oh,
healthy.
and, well, don't forget about Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Just lock him in.
Yes, he's going to be great this week.
He's not a question.
And Goff might even be a streamer.
Well, I mean,
If you're desperate, I'd you can throw Goff
spoiler
in there.
alert: my quarterback start my tournament play.
Well, there you go. So start Goff with
Confidence.
some bit of confidence.
I would start Goff with confidence for sure. Like I would rather start Jared Goff than Deshaun Watson this weekend.
I would too, and I'd rather start Trevor Lawrence on the other side than Jared Goff.
I would rather. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yes,
So
absolutely. Agreed.
all right,
Trevor Lawrence has looked awesome.
Yes,
By the way,
yes.
he's looked awesome. Like him having it, like what it is crazy, like, and it's so funny because Doug Peterson is getting all the praise, and they're just killing Urban Meyer.
sorry, real quick on that. Yeah, I mean, how nice is it for Peterson to just be coming in and after like one of the worst coaches that has seen the NFL in years, and he's just
You can't fail.
Oh
How do you
man,
fail, dude?
he looks like a god,
Yeah,
right?
I know. He might want to retire after this
The
year.
players are like, I would die for this guy.
It was so bad last year. You don't understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. But no, Trevor Lawrence now looks like a quarterback. Like I think last year at one point I said I don't know why, but this sticks in my mind. I watched a London game with him, and he walked off the field after a 3-and-out, and he looked like he wasn't finished yet. You know what I mean? Like he didn't. Oh, it's over. Like because he didn't. He didn't really. He wasn't in tune with the game. Like he wasn't like in command of the game. He was just going out there and performing the tasks that he was being told to perform. Now, when you watch him play, he looks like he has control of the flow of the game and the offense. He has command of the offense. He knows what he wants to do. He looks comfortable throwing the football, and he's really good at throwing the football.
He's gotten a lot. Yeah, he started to really show it.
His arm is awesome. Like
Yeah, I was looking at his
is
stats,
he
and
looks to me his arm is right up there with Justin Herbert and Josh Allen.
Nice. And fantasy wise, like I say, he's coming on the last, I think it's 5-6 weeks in a row. He's over 20 points fantasy wise. A lot of those are 24, 25, 27 point games.
Yeah. Oh no.
So-
he's one of the other guys. Like what we were talking earlier. Like if you were unlucky and you were like me and you drafted Trey Lance in a bunch of places and you had to pivot at quarterback and you had to stream for a while, Trevor Lawrence is one of the 3 guys that you could have landed on, and you can be happy and ride into the playoffs.
Yep, I have him in one of my leagues. Picked him up last week and
with that being said,
doing it.
I'm going to pick the Lions at home this week.
Really? Oh, and start Kirk and
Zay Jones
probably
over
Zay
Kirk,
Jones.
though. I like Zay Jones over Kirk.
Wow, I'd take. Oh, is that a bet?
Yep.
I'll take Kirk.
Are you picking Jags or Lions, Brian?
Oh God, I honestly hadn't even decided yet.
It's a tough one. This is one of the toughest ones of the week for sure.
Oh God, I'm crazy game. 2 4-7 teams. Give me.
This is my favorite 4-7 versus 4-7 matchup ever. I think. I like both of these teams so much.
Yeah, I totally agree. God, okay, I'm gonna take the Lions at home. Dang it! I wanted to go against you, Ken, but I gotta get,
I'll go against you guys.
the Lions have been fun. Yeah, no, that's a good one to Lone Wolf, dude. Like, if you would have
Yeah,
picked first
that's a
and
good
gone
one.
Lions, I would have gone Jags.
Oh. Let's see. I don't know if we're going to catch up, though. He's got quite the lead on us.
Yeah, but if we separate our picks, one of us will.
Yeah. I think we've kind of been doing that.
Oh man.
You mind grabbing me a beer on your way back? Next game up, we got Browns at the Texans.
What is X Jones?
Zay Jones?
Spelled with a Z.
Thank you, sir.
Isn't that Xander Jones?
So next up, we got Browns at the
I thought it was
Texans.
XAY.
No, ZAY.
Browns are at -7. The over-under at 46.5 if you're betting on the Browns. -315, and if you're betting on the Texans,
What's wrong with you? You're betting on the Texans.
+2. I know, +260. What a bunch of suckers.
I wonder. I'm curious what the record is. The Texan record is against the spread this year.
Not good.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty bad, but I'm wondering how
Yeah,
bad it is.
it's not good.
It's probably better than the 1-9-1, but
I don't know. It might not be.
maybe, really.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad, especially lately. Like
It
that,
feels like the beginning of the season they were kind of
So
hanging
I
in there a
actually,
bit.
I really wanted to take a look at Dameon Pierce because I was really worried about what's going on with Dameon Pierce. So I watched the full Dolphins Texans game, and Dameon Pierce is fine.
Yeah.
It is really hard to put up fantasy points when your team goes 3 and out over and over and over and over again. There's just not. What are you going to do? There's nothing. If your team's not producing first downs, they're not moving the ball down the field, you're not going to score points. Period. That's what's happening.
Yep.
So the reason his carries look down and his production is just down is because the offense is completely fallen apart. And Kyle Allen was not an answer at all. At all.
So,
I was
what you're saying
really
for
surprised.
him as a player, you really like him.
I like
Dynasty,
him all. I like him a lot.
Dynasty, you really like him.
Not only do I,
But this year,
and not even do I
you
like him
done?
as a player. No, I think they have this is a better matchup, and so I was that's why I wanted to watch that game and make sure, because I think one of the bigger questions that people have this week is whether or not they should be jumping ship from Dameon Pierce, and what I see is that the Texans just really have to be playing against somebody who's going to give up yards on defense. And because if their offense is inept, their offensive line is, and it's crazy because the announcers were talking about they have 4 first-round picks on their offensive line.
really?
Yeah, and it's bad.
Wow.
It's bad. It's really bad. And they just don't have a quarterback right now. They moved away from Davis Mills. They started Kyle Allen last week, and Kyle Allen's just as bad as we remember, if not worse. It might have been worse. Like that was some of the worst quarterback play I think I've seen. It was just horrendous. He was getting his guy, like, even on the balls he was completing, he was just getting his guys killed.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was just ugly football. Brandon Cooks is not going to play this weekend, so that's that's worrisome.
So is there any receiving option?
No.
No. Right?
Jordan Akins Jordan Akins was the guy they kept going to.
DFS start throw? No.
And like I think like I personally I think I'm probably going to sit Dameon Pierce this
Yes,
week.
I would too.
Like
If you have that option.
I am a person with limited options, but I'm still like
So who are you starting over him?
Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I would too.
Antonio Gibson is not going to play on Sunday, and I was already going to do that. I was already going to start
even
Brian
if Gibson
Robinson.
was there. Yeah, I can see that.
Because of opportunities and just the likeliness that he's going to have an opportunity to score. Versus what I saw from the Houston offense last week is like I didn't think Miami's defense was that good.
They aren't.
But they made Miami's defense. Seriously, I'm not kidding. They made Miami's defense look like the 2000 Ravens.
I agree.
Like I felt like the Miami defense was everywhere. They were swarming. They were like they were ball hawking. Like it was so sad.
We've spent way too much time on the Houston Texans here.
No, we gave them the appropriate time. Like,
Well, I'm
you
saying
you want
we-
to talk about the Browns because you want to talk about Deshaun Watson.
Well,
I was trying to avoid talking about Tug and Rub.
Tug and rub. I love it. Tug and rub, Voldemort, whatever you want to call him. I think he's someone that deserves to be talked about because everyone's wondering about him. Everyone's like we talked about earlier on
He's an
the
interesting player,
Yahoo
but,
app.
so
he's
I'm-
projected to get 25 points.
I'm
this
somebody who watched his preseason performance.
week. Yeah.
I was extremely interested in watching his preseason performance, and it scared the crap out of me.
I can see that. Yeah, I remember watching it too.
It was bad. It was he looked really, really, really rusty, and that was in a preseason game.
Right, but it's only a quarter. and this
So
and that.
all I'm saying is, don't start him in fantasy this week. That's crazy. He hasn't played in 2 years. Don't do that.
And
to
I'd say
yourself.
you'd have to be pretty desperate to start him this week.
Or
I've
just
got
a
him on
masochist.
I've got him in one of my leagues sitting on my bench just waiting just in case because I've got Garoppolo as my starter, which, has been doing pretty decent, but I'm not, super confident in Garoppolo. So, I'm putting some backup plans together, and he's a backup plan for me just in case.
He's
Now,
a
do you
decent
want-
backup plan.
And that's what he should be for you.
He is, to me, he is the decent backup plan that Justin Fields was earlier in the year.
Right, and panned out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But where were we on that panning out?
Oh, yeah. No, it
we did not
very much could have
yeah,
gone either way.
Up in the
Absolutely,
air, completely
yeah.
up in the air. That's how I feel about Deshaun Watson. Is like we know what he can do. I'm not confident based on the weapons that he has in place
What's up? What?
and the fact that he
What a
hasn't
busy.
played in 2 years. That's the biggest
No,
thing
I-
for me is he hasn't played in 2 years.
Yep,
And
we
he's not-
gotta see something
And
this
he's not
week.
Joe Montana.
But he gets to play the Texans, which is hilarious. And start Nick Chubb. Duh. Yeah. Chubb's going to have a good game.
Yeah.
I think we're all going Browns on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Next up is Jets at Vikings.
This is the actual game of the week.
Jets are
This
plus
is
3.
the best game of the week. I cannot wait to watch this game.
Let him get the point totals
Sorry.
out.
And the
I can't
over under
wait.
at
I can't
44.5. You're betting on the Jets plus 125. And if you're betting on the Vikings, minus 145. One water cooler question I got was Cousins versus Geno.
Gino.
There you go. It.
Yeah.
That Jets
agreed.
defense is
Agreed.
legit.
Yep.
Justin
And
Jefferson.
the Rams defense, as we discussed earlier, is not so much
And they
right
let
now.
they let receivers. pound
Justin
them.
Jefferson about to get lost in the sauce.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I'd like to see that. The last time we thought somebody was going to shut Jefferson down, they totally did not.
You mean when Diggs did?
Was it? No. No, there was another matchup where we were just like, oh, Jefferson's, it's a bad matchup for him, and he totally performed.
No, you're gonna start him. You
Yeah,
start. Him.
no.
Like, you always start Justin Jefferson. I'm just saying. Like
I'm curious, like how good Sauce Gardner does against.
I think he's
Justin
gonna.
Jefferson.
I think he's gonna be great.
I'm curious. I honestly do not know, and I'd like to see. And I'm anxious to kind of see how that works out.
So I see this being like I honestly, I see this game being similar to the Dallas game because I think the Jets are going to get after Kirk Cousins and cause problems.
Wow.
And I think they're going to be able to move the ball. We saw what the Patriots were able to do against them.
So you think the Jets are going to devastate the Vikings on
I
the road?
do.
On the road?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I
well,
do.
I'm taking the other side of that.
I'm not. I'm all over the Jets on this one. I think yes. Like the Vikings are 9-2. They're having a really nice season.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a 9-2 team. They're just not.
I would agree that they haven't shown that they are yet, and this is one of those games that I think is going to be interesting. 'Cause
I think these teams are very even.
Dallas. So they went up against Dallas, which is their first real contender for the season, and they failed miserably. Now the Jets, obviously a step below,
The Jets
but
have-
still
but
a
the-
strong contender for the playoffs. So
the
this is
Jets
like a playoff
and
game,
the Jets have been tested all year long.
right?
So
So I want to see this. I want to see this game. I want to see if the Vikings
I think yes,
are what we think they are, or what And
And I'm not saying the Jets are going to go in there and they're going to like beat the Vikings like the Cowboys beat the Vikings a couple of weeks ago. What I'm saying, I think the Jets will win this game, and I think they will look impressive doing it.
All right. That's a hot take. Definitely playing Garrett Wilson on the Jets side.
Yeah, you are.
Definitely there. I think
Zonovan Bam Knight.
Mike White, I'm definitely staying away from.
Mike
Knight
White is interesting. Mike White is super interesting.
Is he?
Yeah, this week he is. This
See, I'd put him in the same category as Voldemort there.
This week he's interesting. I disagree with that because, and here's why. Mike White he literally just put up 30 points in a fantasy game. Okay, he did it in the rain in New York.
Yeah.
And the Vikings, the team he's playing this week, just gave up almost 400 yards passing to Mac Jones.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'd probably start him over Voldemort, but I still don't.
Yeah,
want to
I got
start
him. I convinced him.
But I don't want to start him. Like
no,
that's not-
But I
Yeah.
was.
Trevor Lawrence,
Now-
Goff.
Here's in my dynasty league, I have Justin Fields. So in the middle of the week, where Justin Fields didn't look like it looked like maybe he wasn't going to start. So my decision was going to be Mike White or Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
See, you making a pause
Wow.
right there. That's all you need. That's all you don't need to answer the question now. Mike White is a borderline top 12 quarterback this week.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So yeah,
So next up, or
definitely ready.
so, and you're going Vikings, right?
Yes.
Stuff like conversation. Okay. So next up, we got Washington at New York Giants. Washington is at -2, over under at 40.5. If you're betting on the Commanders, -125. If you're betting on the Giants, +105.
These games are so ugly. Like the old Redskin Giants.
It feels like it's going to be an
Washington
ugly
versus
defensive
New York
game,
games.
doesn't it?
They just are.
Yeah.
These two teams get together and play the ugliest football games in the NFL. Not the AFC North teams, not the AFC South teams, not the NFC South teams. These two teams right here. When Washington and the New York Football Giants get together, you can turn the TV off. It is ugly football. It's just my whole life, dude. I'm 38 years old, and my whole life that matchup has not been exciting ever.
All right. Hard for me to argue against it right now, especially staring at it right now, because, yeah, I mean, what did you say the over-under
Nothing's
was
changed
on this
since
game? Like 40 or 39?
It should be under 40, I would guess.
Let me find the game again. 40.5.
Wow, so right at 40. Wow. I'd slam the under there. I would.
Yes. It's in New York. It's in December. It's Washington versus New York.
Washington defense is playing well. New York Giants defense is playing pretty well.
Chase Young's supposed to play this week.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So
The Washington defense was already playing well, and they're getting Chase Young back, who, if in case anybody forgot, was the defensive rookie of the year not
2 years
last
ago.
year, 2
Yeah.
years ago. Excuse me. Micah Parsons was last year.
Yeah.
I knew that him and Micah Parsons were back to back.
I don't know if you like salt.
Oh, sweet.
and then you've got Barkley on the Giants side, who you're going to play because he's such a good
you
talent.
shouldn't be
but
excited about it because
No, I wouldn't be excited at
since
all.
The Giants gave him 35 carries 3 weeks ago. He has had back-to-back games, I think, under 50 yards rushing.
And who knows how much of a part of it that is, but I mean that's definitely says something. And the Giants seem to be slowing down while the Commanders are speeding up. That's a big thing right now. That Commander defense looks great, and the offense with Heineke looks competent. You know what I mean? They look average, which is really good for the Commanders.
The only thing that gives me pause for the Commanders this week is that Antonio Gibson is hurt and he's not going to play.
So is Brian Robinson getting healthier and taking steps up, or has he
Brian
just
Robinson looks
had
great.
Good matchups?
Brian
or-
Robinson looks great, and they actually gave him a couple of targets last week. So, to me, he's a monster start. Like, if Antonio Gibson does not play on Sunday, Brian Robinson is a must-start monster play.
Okay, I mean, I didn't have him down as a monster play, but he's definitely in my top 24 this
I think
week.
it's 25 plus touches.
It could be,
And
It could be.
not just
and if it
carries. I
is,
think it's
if they have
catches,
the
too, 'cause
confidence-
McKissick's still out, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So if they have the confidence to do that with him after the injury, that just means that they're like, okay, this guy's healthy. This guy's our dude now.
Oh, have you watched him? He looks awesome.
He looked awesome last week. The week before,
The
not
week
so
before
much.
was the Philly game, right? No, not the Philly game.
I
The
don't
week
remember.
before, the week before was the Philly game when he had the man touchdown. That's my favorite, probably one of my favorite touchdowns of the year was that the Brian Robinson run because he got stuffed.
But he had a bad game other than that run, right?
If the touchdown saved him in that
Yeah.
game, but saved it. He was like 14.5 PPR points or something like that. So like, it's not like he killed.
He's somebody that was taking a look at and
he was getting
just
zero
like,
catches.
all right, I'm
He
not
was
really
get-
interested.
He was
until
getting
last
zero,
week.
he was getting 0 catches.
Yes.
And when the Commanders were losing games and they weren't scoring, it was completely uninteresting if he wasn't going to get any catches. Now they're scoring. Their defense is putting them in position to close games out, which means that he's going to have more opportunity to run the football because they're not chasing points all the time. And they've started to actually throw him the football.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I expect him to score, but I do expect him to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 110 total yards and 3 to 4 catches. So if he does score, he's a top 10 running back this week.
All right.
In my opinion. If
All
he
right,
scores,
yeah.
he's top 10.
And I think that's a hot take. I don't think I'd put him quite that high, but I do agree. I think he's going to be good this week, and you're probably going to start him if he's on your team.
Yes.
Is there anybody else to talk about in this game?
No, the Giants are doing it by hook and crook, man.
Yeah.
They're a 7-4 team, and you have no idea how.
Yeah.
No idea how. And honestly, that's probably the nicest, the best compliment you could give Daniel Jones, because he's navigated this team to 7-4 with basically Saquon Barkley and nothing else.
Well, I say it's 7-5 this week. I'm going to take the Manders,
I agree with you, sir.
and it looks like Ray does too.
Yeah, that was my guess. Is we were all going to go that way.
And that's crazy to me. You realize that if the playoffs started today, all 4 NFC East teams would be in.
I heard that this week.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And
All right.
deservedly so.
Yeah, dude, they're playing good.
Like, is the only team that you'd want to look to play against in the playoffs right now.
who knew that was going to be
maybe the
division from
Giants.
hell, huh?
I know, right? But you know what? It's about damn time. Because
Because they've sucked for so long.
because this is the division with the most Super Bowl championships.
Oh, whatever.
It's true. It's the division with the most Super Bowl championships, and it's not close.
So next up,
I
we
go by
have
teams.
Tennessee Titans at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
Tennessee plus 4.5.
Well, when Dallas wins their 6th this year, they'll be back at the top.
All right, sir.
The over-under is at 44. If you're betting on the Titans, plus 180. And if you're betting on the Eagles, minus 210.
We can put a bet up if you want. Dallas gets number 6 before Pittsburgh gets number 7.
Oh, I mean, I hate doing bets that are that long. I mean,
Why not?
Because we're not going to win this year. You're not going to win this year. So I mean, all right. On to the game at hand here. We've got the Eagles and the Titans. Eagles obviously the favorites here, but Titans have been they're a good team, man. They're a well coached, solid team.
The Titans are the opposite of the Baltimore Ravens to me. They bring other teams down to their level. The Titans are not a superstar team.
Yeah.
They play such solid football. They believe in what they do so much that they are able to bring other teams down to their level.
Yeah. And a big and this is a situation where I think Derrick Henry could get going. And when Derrick Henry gets going,
The Eagles still
goodness.
haven't solved their rushing defense. They opened the window on bringing back their monster defensive tackle rookie, Jamin Davis. I don't know if you've seen him play or not. That guy is a freak. He's like Shaquille O'Neal of football. He's so big because he's like 6'8" and 340 pounds, but he's a freak athlete.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm scared of him. I'm super scared of him. What the Eagles' defensive line is going to be like for the next 8 years. It's it sucks.
Okay.
But I don't think he's going to be back this weekend. So I think that Derrick Henry is going to be able to run against the Eagles defense much better than he was able to run against the Cincinnati defense last week.
Correct.
And that game, so impressed with the Bengals last week, by the way. Real quick, like I expected them to win that game. They were super impressive.
Yeah,
doing it.
they looked good
They
doing
were
it. They
tough.
did.
They played tough. That was the thing.
Yeah, if they
It was
keep playing
impressive.
like that, they could be a contender.
To beat the Titans 20-16 in Tennessee, that was so impressive. It's hard not to think that they're going to go back and be like a Final Four team. Anyway,
All right. But the funny
in
thing
this
is
game-
there
in
anybody
this
you want
game-
to start on the Titans side?
in this
other
game
than
there are
Henry?
no Final Four teams.
Says the Dallas fan.
Fuck you, Eagles. I still think that they're a mirage. I do.
Yeah.
I think they got saved again last week with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt.
I don't know about that, but I feel a little bit of what you're saying, but definitely not to the degree that you are. But Titans, like, what
and
about
also
Treylon Burks?
here an important. Treylon Burks is the man.
But
I'm
he's startable this week.
Oh yeah, Treylon Burks is startable the rest of the year.
Okay, that's a hot take.
He is the Titans are an average to above average offense. They're going to be able to score points. They are looking to get him the football in every way possible. They're running quick screens. They're giving him the ball on end arounds. He's going deep. He's beating guys on 50-50 balls. Like, he looks awesome. He looks like a monster. I'm very excited about Treylon Burks' future. And if you were listening to the footballers this week, they were talking about some of the rookie receivers that meet certain metric marks to become elite number ones for the last quarter of the season, and he was one of them.
Yeah, he's in the yeah, and that's why I bring him up, because he's an interesting guy.
He's the statistics tell you he's an interesting guy. If you actually watch the games, you'd be so excited about him. Seriously, when the comparisons to AJ Brown are completely fair.
I want to see Tannehill start targeting him like that, and then I'll believe.
Oh,
I'm just not there
You can
yet.
you can almost bet that on important plays now, that's where the ball is going.
Okay. And then we can go through the Eagles side pretty quickly. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about there. You're going to start Jalen Hurts.
Devontae Smith is a little dinged up.
Okay.
Possibly, and this is also like a revenge game for AJ Brown.
Yeah, I don't
So,
always put a lot of stock in that, but
I
I mean,
do.
he'll have a little bit of motivation.
Players are highly
Well,
motivated.
either way, you're starting AJ Brown.
Who's not motivated to go back and stick it in the face of a former employer?
I was listening to one of my podcasts last year, and they broke down the revenge game statistic. You know what I mean? They broke down all the revenge games for 1 year that were relevant and blah blah blah. And you're right, some of it's going to be according to that person's statistics and data and what they're
that's
doing.
gonna be they're gonna weight it based on a revenge game for Cole Beasley or something like
But
that.
that's what I'm saying. This is a guy that I trust. Like this is a guy
Yes.
that I listen to, and I'm like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's
Was this
not
Harris?
I think it was Harris, but I can't remember. Like I said, this was a year and a half ago. But breaking it down, it was like 51-49. You know what I mean? 52-48, something like that. So it wasn't. So after I heard that, I'm just like, okay, the revenge game thing is a neat narrative. It's fun to talk about, but you always remember the times when the revenge game worked.
I would need it
and
broken
you
down
don't
for me
remember it
more.
when it doesn't.
I would need it broken down for me more. I would want to make sure that whatever it was, whatever particular study was done, whatever statistics were put together on it, that it was narrowed down to top X receivers. So
Yeah, no,
so that
like I
we're
say,
not. So that we're
there's
not,
a lot in the process.
We're not
on that.
talking about Danny Amendola.
Yeah,
you
you,
know?
have to trust who's doing the thing. That there. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's without knowing that, I can't
Right.
I can't say too much.
And
about
I
it,
agree with that.
'cause
All
I've
I can say was a
seen-
guy that I listen to and trust.
I've
and
seen
it's
too many, and
that
we're
makes sense.
talking about this conversation, and all I can think about right now is how the Bills would have beaten the Vikings if they had just started Case Keenum over Josh Allen the week that he had gotten hurt first.
Wait, what?
Because Case Keenum
Is the man.
was a Viking, and they kicked him out of town for Kirk Cousins,
Right.
who's done nothing.
And if only he would have started that day.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about revenge games.
Yeah.
So it would have been a revenge game for Case Keenum.
So
And
if
that's
he
what
would have had that chance, you're saying.
I'm saying if the Bills had, so I'm saying, I'm pretty sure I said this. If the Bills had started Case Keenum, they would have won that game, and it wouldn't have been close.
Yeah, you put a lot more on the emotional factor of football than I
It's
do.
important. It's an emotional game. It is an emotional game, dude. Like now, modern football, like
We're going Eagles, right? Real quick. And you're going Titans.
I will be going Titans. Yeah.
Nice.
What is this? What am I? Pick the Eagles?
Just saying, that's how I keep gaining on you this year.
Am I some kind of idiot?
True Ken Cash.
You would have been an idiot one time this year. The other 10, not so much.
And I think I picked the Eagles that week too. I think I actually did pick the Eagles that week.
That was
But
just like one of the Steelers' 4 wins. That was the week that I picked.
yeah, you've
against
looked
them.
really smart 4 times this year.
Anyway,
Yeah. So yeah, we got into the weeds on that one. But Case Keenum for president. No, just kidding.
That's my president.
ay. Moving on.
Not my president.
So next up we have Seahawks at the Rams. Seahawks are -7. The over/under at 41. If you're betting on the Seahawks, -305, and if you're betting on the Rams, +255
So all jokes aside, this is actually a super important game.
for the Seahawks.
I mean, fantasy wise, I think that I feel like this is a super important game because I feel like there's a lot of possible plays in this game from the Rams side. Because you could possibly play Van Jefferson, you could possibly play Kyron Williams, you could possibly play Cam Akers, you could possibly play Tyler Higbee, but you don't want to do any of that
Oh God, no.
because of Bryce Perkins. But the opportunity is so good.
Stafford
Like
was in there, I wouldn't wanna do it.
No, if Stafford was in, I would definitely start Van Jefferson and I would definitely start Kyron Williams.
Not me.
Definitely, I would. The Seahawks have been giving it up. Like this is a juicy matchup. That's why I'm saying this is.
It was a juicy matchup at the beginning of the year. The
No,
Seattle defense has come together a little bit.
Not lately. They've fallen apart.
I wouldn't say
They just
fallen
gave up
apart.
34
Still
to
a
the
divisional
Raiders.
game.
And it's a divisional game. Yeah, and the
Still a
Rams are
divisional game.
the Rams are a
Rams-
home dog.
The Rams
but-
have owned them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I take Seattle. Just saying. But fantasy wise, like all those Rams that you mentioned are, if desperation plays, but I think they're desperation plays. Like you're really trying to avoid all those. And on Seattle's side, like you're trying to start.
Now I feel
DK
like
Metcalf and
on a
Lockett.
week in week out basis, like unless you're in a position where like you've been fortunate and your team hasn't sustained injuries and or undergone changes because things change in fantasy football.
For sure.
On a week in week out basis, you're probably have at least one iffy spot on your roster. And
Not that iffy. Like,
you've got like 4 of them.
dude, like those guys, like all the Rams that you named, those guys aren't coming anywhere near my starting roster on any of my teams.
So
On any of them.
Kyron Williams, Van Jefferson probably shouldn't. No, he's more of an interesting DFS play, but Kyron Williams should because he's a running back that's probably going to see between 15 and 20 carries. He should.
Have we seen that yet? How many carries did he get last week?
11, and he had 5, and
that's
it was 11 and 5.
highest.
I think it was 11 and 5 catches.
Okay.
So
you're assuming a lot.
I'm not really assuming that much more. I'm assuming that he's going to absorb the rest of the workload and that he's going to be in a more positive game script this week where like there's just more opportunity for him to
But they're going to be
touch the football.
Odds are the Rams are going to be losing. So how is it a positive script for him? I mean,
Oh, well, I don't mean positive script in the sense that they're going to be winning. I mean positive in the sense that they're going to be able to move the football. They weren't really able to move the football last week. Kansas City kind of stifled them. Kansas City's a much better defense than Seattle is.
so how many points do you think the Rams score this week?
Oh, 13. But what I'm
I
saying
was going
is,
to bet you over under like 17 or something. I was like, let's go, buddy.
But what I'm saying is that Kyron Williams is a run. Like we've talked about this. A running back that gets 15 to 20 touches is basically an auto start.
But he hasn't done that yet.
Not
Okay, that's why he's not an auto start yet.
I agree. That's why we're having this discussion. That's why
Fair
I'm
enough.
saying that this is an important fantasy game because Kyron Williams should be on everyone's radar. Like if
Yes.
anybody who doesn't have more running backs than they can start every week
Yes.
should be watching Kyron Williams.
Yes, and I've been watching him all year.
That's all I'm saying.
Kind of hoping.
That's
yeah.
all I'm saying. But also, Bryce Perkins runs the ball so much that if he just gets a little competent in the passing game, he becomes a really interesting start.
Like a Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
He's been getting us into a
Justin
lot
Fields
of
is what I
new
would say. I
depth.
wouldn't say Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts has got the whole package around
Well,
him.
I mean,
But I wouldn't say Justin Fields because I don't expect
last
him to
year.
run like 80 yards and score touchdowns. But he becomes interesting because it doesn't take a whole lot of rushing because, like, look at what Daniel Jones has done this year. Daniel Jones has been a very serviceable quarterback at multiple points this year, mostly based on the fact that he runs the ball for 45 to 50 yards a game. That really matters. So if Bryce Perkins, like, if he figures some stuff out and starts to be able to move the offense and they start to score a couple of touchdowns a game, he becomes really interesting. And because of that, the guys around him become interesting. So Kyron Williams getting his 20-ish touches becomes very interesting. Van Jefferson being his number one target becomes very interesting. That's what I was saying. So I think this is an interesting game for fantasy football.
Are you picking the Rams or are you picking the Seahawks?
I am picking the Seahawks to win.
Ooh, I got a lot of lone wolf games this
yeah.
week.
So, you're starting Walker, you're starting Lockett, you're starting
Start all your Seahawks
Metcalf.
guys. Yeah.
You're starting. That's what I'm saying. You're starting all your Seahawks
Yeah.
and your Rams. Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I look at every individual game and try to get excited about it, Mm-hmm. And for me, this one's not difficult. It's not difficult to get excited about this game because I do want to see what those players are going to do. Like if I was a Rams fan, I'd be super upset about this game. I'm just upset about the season. It sucks.
Yeah.
But from a fantasy perspective, this game is spicy to me because I want to see. I want to see if Bryce Perkins is going to progress a little bit. I want to see if Van Jefferson is going to be able to hold up and handle 6+ catches a game. Because if he does, he becomes an interesting guy in 2023.
Yeah.
I want to see if Kyron Williams is going to be able to do anything.
And I see all you're saying. I just don't think this is. I think this is going to be more of a blowout by the Seahawks. But
I don't think
that's
so.
Just the way
I don't think the
see it.
Seahawks are. I don't think the Seahawks are good enough to blow people out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well,
all right. So, sorry. Oh, did you want? There's a really interesting game next, though. I'm just let's talk about that one.
Yeah, right. The way they've been playing lately, I don't think the Seahawks are good enough to blow people out. They were playing better a month ago.
Okay. And
So
I
ne-
don't disagree with that.
So next up, we have the Dolphins at the 49ers. Dolphins are at +4. The over-under at 46.5. If you're betting on the Dolphins, you're at +165. And if you're betting on the Niners, -195.
What a great game. I can't wait to watch this game. Okay, all right. Ken's
wearing his
repping
jersey.
the Niner jersey. So who is that on the back? I don't know who 21 is.
Dion.
Okay. So
I love this jersey.
I guess you're picking the Niners here.
Because no one ever knows what it is because he only played there 1 year.
Yeah, dude, I don't recognize numbers. I'll tell you that right now. But dude,
Dion's got to be the most famous 21 that ever played.
I think. Do you think this is going to be a high scoring game or a low scoring game? You think this is hitting a higher or over or under?
I do. What's the over under on this one?
46.5.
I think it's going to hit the over.
I do too.
I don't think
this
it's
is going to be a fun offense.
I think so too.
And the Niners defense is great, but man, I don't think people realize how great that Dolphins offense is and how great those receivers are. They are going to move the ball.
But, and this is another reason I watched that Houston Miami game last week in full. Miami lost their left tackle. His name is something Armstead. And I know that because the 49ers are getting their Armstead back this week on the defensive line. And the Dolphins are possibly not going to have theirs. He went out of the game, and all of a sudden they couldn't move the ball. Tua on, I think it was CBS guys did the numbers on this, and I think it was 12 dropbacks after he. And even on the plays where he didn't get sacked, he was hurried. It was just different. It was like a couple years ago. Remember Tyron Smith got hurt, and then Chaz Green started that one game against the Falcons and gave up 7 sacks.
It's a little specific. I don't remember that, but I believe you.
It was a Thursday night football game. Like it was really bad. It was a bad season for the Cowboys. But
Hilarious what you remember, but go ahead.
that's what it's like. That was what it reminded me of. Was like he went down and all of a sudden their offensive line was just completely different.
Uh-huh.
So if I were a Dolphins fan, that would concern me a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Now and then what I still saw in that game that I've seen every single game that I've watched from the Dolphins is that Tua is just this close to being a disaster.
I have seen those plays too.
So close. Like he's not accurate. I don't care what Tyreek Hill says. He's not accurate.
Well, or the numbers, because the numbers say he's the most accurate.
The numbers say
passer in the
he's
NFL.
accurate too, but he's also he's doing a good job of trusting his offense and throwing to spots.
I agree.
And I don't think he's actually seeing a lot of the things
Just
that he's
trusting
doing.
his
He
receivers.
is just trusting things. And the 49ers are a very, very smart defense. So it would not surprise me at all if they were able to fool Tua a couple of times and the plays that he's gotten away with where the ball goes high and bounces up and no one comes down with it, San Francisco catches those balls.
All right.
The 49ers are a very opportunistic defense. And I think this is the game where people go, is Tua that good?
Or, oh my God, how good is Tua? You know what I mean? Yeah. No, this. I think it's. I would go farther.
I'm predicting that it's going to be on and I'm not saying I don't like Tua. Tua's great, you know. But I just don't like. To me, I don't see a modern day Steve Young when I watch him. I don't see.
I think it's too young to be projecting anything like that. If you're saying something like that,
People
then
are
you're just,
dude.
Who cares?
Watch. Okay.
I mean, don't listen to those people if they're saying that.
Everybody is so far up Tua's butt right now. Like. And I don't get it. I feel like
I think it's more of a feel good story.
I feel like
for the media.
I feel
you know
like
what I mean?
With the exception of my hatred for the Eagles, that I've proven to be a pretty neutral football fan. Like I love my Cowboys, obviously, but like I will fanboy over good football players, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't see it with Tua. When I watch Tua play, I don't see it. I see it with Jalen Waddle. I see it with Tyreek Hill, and it makes me feel like he's lucky that he's got a smart offensive-minded coach, and he's got 2 of the best weapons in football. Mm-hmm. And that works almost every week. But then you run into a good defense.
Okay, and
so all I'm gonna ask is, who has been the test for Tua so far this year?
well, and like I say, we're 11 games.
I'll
in.
name
I
you
can't
one.
Remember, but go ahead.
The Bengals. How do you do?
I don't remember.
He didn't finish that game.
Okay, so you're getting him for that's the game he got hurt. Oh, that's
I'm just
dumbass.
saying. No, because that was the game he got roughed up.
Okay.
Because what happens in most and in this up until his tackle went down in the Houston game, he drops back and he gets rid of the ball really quickly, really quickly. They've got guys running open constantly. Like their offense right now, sometimes their offense looks like the '99 Rams, where it's just like he's throwing the ball to whoever he want. Like you don't exactly know who's going to score, but you just kind of expect them to score because there's so many people running open all of the time. But when you put pressure on him, it's different. It's a little different because he's 6 feet tall. He's not big. So if you take him off of his spot, he has to readjust. And their team, because like then you look at their receivers and you look at Tyreek Hill, he's like 5'10", 180 pounds, 190 pounds. And then you look at Jalen Waddle, who's right at 5'11" or 6 foot. So when you put him in those situations, it's a little more difficult for him to be successful. And that is something they haven't done this year. They haven't been forced to do that very much. They've just surgically taken people apart.
Okay, well, and it's been 11 games, so I would dispute that a little bit. But honestly, the biggest thing is that I think you had it right earlier when you're saying that this is a huge test. And I think this is a huge test for Tua, but not just for Tua. I think for the Miami Dolphins, this is a huge test. And I think for the Niners, this is a huge test.
I disagree with that.
Now, look, here's the thing. I have all
The
of a sudden
49ers are a seasoned team. They don't care
since-
about the Dolphins.
Since McCaffrey has come to that team, the thing is that they're 7-4. They have 4 losses, and so if going to 7-5 is a big deal for them in their playoff schedule, I agree they're still going to make the playoffs because their team is that good. But this is a big deal for them. They need to keep winning.
The 49ers are a Super Bowl team. This is like most.
That's what we think, and that's what I'm telling you. Like,
good chunk
if
of
they
the-
come out and they blow out the
good chunk
Dolphins,
of
if
their
they really
roster-
tear them up, I agree with you. Like now, all of a sudden, I'm vindicated in my thoughts for the last few weeks. Like, oh my God, I think San Francisco is a Super Bowl team all of a sudden. So this is the game to me that kind of vindicates that thought.
Oh, I've been on them the whole year. So
No, I wasn't on them until McCaffrey, and when McCaffrey came over, I was like, oh damn.
I was when they got McCaffrey.
Well, I think you were wrong until McCaffrey got there.
Well,
But
we'll never know. We'll never know. But
the record agrees with me.
hey, you know what? Okay. Well, on that note, let's talk about some of the actual important stuff for fantasy, and that's that Elijah Mitchell is on the IR again, and that Christian McCaffrey has a knee problem. So,
Said he's good to go, by the way.
okay.
No, I'm just saying, like the team, like he's
Yeah, but the team
He's going to get the workload.
But the workload. What's the workload?
Exactly. No, that's playing into your point. Like I'm just saying, don't take anything away from McCaffrey. You're still starting McCaffrey.
Yeah.
He's still a great start this week, but there might be somebody who gets worked in. Is what you're going to say, right?
Well, the reason I brought that up is because we said we may never know, and it's like, well, it's Christian McCaffrey, so he's always just like a couple of plays away from being back on the shelf.
So not true.
And I don't think that matters that much because if you I've watched every 49ers game this year, and honestly, I was a little more bummed out that Elijah Mitchell got hurt because he looks like a better athlete.
Than Christian McCaffrey. That's a spicy take.
Christian McCaffrey is a talented football player. He is a great football player, but he's not overly fast. It's not like he's particularly. It's not like he's strong. It
doesn't seem like they've been unleashing him.
He plays
weeks.
really hard, and he's really smart, and he always catches the ball. His hands are glue. That's why Christian McCaffrey is special. It's not Christian McCaffrey. I don't think has ever blown anybody away with his moves.
I don't know, dude. I've seen him do some amazing things.
I've seen him do some things where it was like that was really resilient, like where he's flipped over guys and maintained balance, where he's taken a hit from a guy and not gone down. But I've never seen Christian McCaffrey really leave guys in the dirt or break guys' ankles or throw guys off of him. He doesn't so to me, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, he's not the quickest, but he's still the best.
And you'd rather have Elijah Mitchell?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that I was a little more disappointed because I think that the 49ers offense runs. I didn't think they needed Christian McCaffrey.
They did if they were going to make a Super Bowl
I
run.
disagree. I disagree.
I wish we
disagree.
could vote more of that.
I wish we could.
Man,
too.
I wish we could.
They were my Super Bowl pick out of the NFC before the season started.
But they were 4-4.
I'm
they got
saying they
McCaffrey, right?
were my Super Bowl pick before the season started. But they had some things to get through. And San Francisco, I think they had a really good record the year they went to the Super Bowl in 2019. But last year they were inches from the Super Bowl, and they barely snuck into the
Yeah,
playoffs.
they were just getting it together. Yeah,
Were they 9-8 last year?
I don't remember if it was 9-8 or 10-7, but
It was one of the two.
Yeah, it was right in there. I agree.
and they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were right in it with like 4 teams in the last week to make the playoffs. Like they earned their playoff spot in the last week. I don't think that matters. This is a really confident football team. So so we've been on a huge digression here, but
I was about to say, let's start wrapping this up. Let's move
the
on
Dolphins, to me, this is a challenge for the Dolphins. This is not a challenge for the 49ers.
I completely disagree. I think this is a huge game for both sides.
disagree.
But either way, going to be a fun game for fantasy and a fun game
I
to
think
watch.
losing this game is would mean so much more to the Dolphins than it would to the 49ers. I don't think this matters to the 49ers if they lose this game.
See, I disagree because
four-
Miami is going across the country and they're
Here's
8-3,
okay,
and
but
San Francisco is 7-4. 7-5 is not a great spot.
What does that
to be.
matter?
It's a huge difference.
Why?
Because you had because
Explain it. I'm just explain it based on the context of the season.
Are you kidding me? Like just
No, I'm not kidding you.
7-5.
Is still first in their division.
Okay, is it still first in their division?
Yeah, that explains how much you know.
Oh, jeez. No, I'm telling you,
Like 7. Yes,
you're-
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. Here, listen.
So you're saying that
San
they're going to be
Francisco- listen.
9-8 and go into the and they're cool? Like I don't know, man. Like I
They
don't-
could be because they don't care. They don't care. They'll go play you anywhere, dude. They went and they beat the Cowboys in Texas. They went and beat the Cowboys in Texas. Then they went and beat the Packers in Lambeau in back-to-back weeks last year. They don't care, dude. They don't care.
All right.
This is a championship football team.
Okay, and I've been saying it
And
since
we're
they got
trying to
McCaffrey,
see
so I'm going to
if
have to agree this week.
That's just not fair. That's
totally
a completely
fair.
unfair statement to that team.
fair.
How? How? Based on what?
We got to move on, man. This,
We don't.
this
No,
is
we
taking
don't.
way too
We
much
don't-
time.
Based on we move on to what?
The next game.
The next great game. There is
Yeah.
a next. There is.
I know.
And that's going to be wild. Probably
Like,
that too.
Okay, so to me, the Dolphins are nobody. They've been nobody.
No,
They've been nobody until this year. They've been nobody.
Of the two teams, the
Okay.
Dolphins is
The
the controller
49ers
team.
are an established
Wait,
football
what?
team. The 49ers before the season started, the 49ers were a top 5 team in the NFL power rankings put out by NFL.com. And the guy who does the NFL power rankings, like I have a lot of faith in his opinion.
Tua over Jimmy G.
And the Dolphins were not. The Dolphins were a somewhere between 15 and 20 team. They're a really nice story, but nobody picked the Dolphins to finish any better than 3rd in their division.
Okay, everything that you said just means nothing to me. But let's move on. Like we have a really great question here. Like you just spouted a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter.
So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Dolphins on this one.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to take the Niners. Like I think they're that good. But I
After
think
all
this
that
is-
arguing, he picks the
Yeah,
Niners.
seriously. Okay. Like, how do you not pick the Dolphins after all that?
because they're on the road going across the country.
Seriously. Oh my God.
They're going. I said
Oh
this is
my
going to be a
God.
good game.
You
and-
almost have to pick the Dolphins. Everything you said out of your mouth was basically BS. Then
bullshit. Like everything you said was so crazy. I had to counteract it.
What do you mean?
It was so out there.
How
I
was
was
every-
like, dude,
what
you
was-
have to come back to earth.
what are you talking
That
about?
is not the case. Like
So you're picking the Niners too, then, right?
Okay, hold on.
Hold on. No, we got to move on.
I'll time out. I'm taking my time out now. The 49ers
Grab me a beer.
you got it.
have had the same coach for the last 5 years. That coach has taken them to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game with the same quarterback that they are starting on Sunday. They are playing against a team with a brand new head coach, with a quarterback who's never started a playoff game. And you're trying to tell me that game is just as important to the 49ers as it is to the Dolphins. I think you might actually be a retard.
What are you talking about? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it
this
does.
is- and look, this is a game. I'm saying this is a great game.
And also, like,
that
if the
it's in
49ers
San Francisco, hold on, let me talk. If it's, you're not letting anybody else talk, man. All right. So if it's in San Francisco, then I'm taking San Francisco. If it's in Miami, I am sure as hell taking Miami.
I would not either. In either situation, I would not
absolutely
take Miami.
take Miami in Miami.
I wouldn't take Miami in either situation, but my point was just about you saying that this is just as important for the 49ers as it is for the Dolphins, and I just don't see that at all. Because the 49ers, even if they lose this game, they're still in first place in their division, a division that they are 4-0 in this year. So that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This game is just nowhere near as important for the 49ers as it is for the Dolphins, because the Dolphins haven't proven anything. The 49ers don't prove anything by beating the Dolphins. They don't prove anything. You don't feel any better. Here's okay.
I don't understand that statement.
Let me wrap this up.
Like you're saying that like it's fact, and it's just not.
Let me wrap this up by asking you a question. Okay?
Okay.
If the 49ers beat the Dolphins on Sunday, does that change in any way the way that you feel about the 49ers?
If the Niners,
if they win on Sunday, if the
yes, it reinforces the fact.
No. That's the reinforcement is not changing.
No. Like
Reinforcement's not changing. A reinforcement is a reinforcement.
no.
That doesn't
But
change.
I'm saying it changes in my head. Like I've right now. Like I am
You already
this
said-
sure. I'm let's say 60% sure
And
that
you
they're
think
Super
them-
Bowl,
and you think
70%
that-
sure
and
that
you're
they're
saying
Super
that
Bowl
you
contender.
think them beating the Dolphins this weekend,
Depending on how they do it,
you-
absolutely changes how I feel about them. It really does.
it changes nothing for me.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, that would absolutely change my feeling.
It changes nothing for me.
Especially if they come out and dominate them, which what I'm saying is it's going to be a close game.
That's like okay. That's like me getting like extra excited because the Cowboys beat the Vikings 40-3 a couple weeks ago, and the reason I'm not is because I would have been more excited had the Cowboys beat the Packers 40-3, and the
Wow. I don't. That doesn't make. You're not making sense. Like, I agree that 40-3 game to me absolutely like solidified that Dallas is a Super Bowl contender, and it solidified to me that Minnesota
maybe
is a paper
Ray can
tiger.
appreciate this, because to me this is more of a historical controller team type situation, because that's the thing is the Vikings, they choke all the time, and they've done nothing. They've done nothing over the last decade that makes me think that we're going to see them in January and be worried about them. The Packers, however, have ended 3 Cowboy seasons in January in the last decade.
So you're letting your emotions.
No,
get into
it's history. It's history.
Exactly.
It's just history. That's just to ignore history is naive. To ignore history is naive. Like if those
Every year is a different team, brother.
Those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it.
That's not football. That's
No, it's just life. I'm sorry,
no,
life. Actually,
life history. You're right.
Yeah,
but football.
Football, small part of life. Actually,
it's
small part of life.
yeah.
You might.
Football changes every year.
Actually, it doesn't.
Sort of.
Actually, it
Sort of.
really doesn't.
Sort of.
Did you know that? It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Actually, that's why you can go back and look at all these statistics, and they're basically the same. That's why you can get to the end of the season, and the NFL can go and they can judge their officials based on the fact that they called penalties 10% less this year than they did last year, because the NFL is so consistently the same.
So next up we have Kansas City at
You hurt my
Bengals. Kansas City's -2. The over/under at 52.5. If you're betting on Kansas City, -140, and if you're betting on the Bengals, +120. No more timeouts.
I don't know. This is probably going to be a controversial take too, but I think the Chiefs are going to blow them out here. I think the Chiefs are going to go on the road into Cincinnati and blow.
And
them out.
I agree with the Chiefs win. So just to throw that out there from an initial standpoint, do you feel the Chiefs are going to beat the Bengals on this?
No.
Okay.
There you go. So not controversial at all. Got it. No, but I think the Chiefs are just playing so well. Now the Bengals did have a good showing last week.
I don't think the Chiefs are playing as well as the Bengals are.
Oh man, I don't think. I think the Bengals have kind of shown throughout the year that they're a hot and cold team. I think they can beat the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs are a much better team, and I think this is a 70-30 game. I think that this is one of those games like I'm 70%, 75% sure that Kansas City is going to win this game. That's where I feel.
And
Fantasy prospects?
Well,
so Jamar Chase is supposed to be back this week.
don't start him.
I want to get away from him. I'm leaning towards not starting him, but I mean, it's
There's
hard not.
cases
It's
where
hard
you
not
might
to do.
have to.
That's hard
but
not to do. It's hard not to.
There's
start
a
Jamar
lot that I'd
Chase.
start over him.
Go ahead. I wouldn't start any of your guys over him in our league.
Are you kidding me?
I wouldn't. No.
You wouldn't. Allen?
No.
You wouldn't start. I'd for sure start.
No,
Allen.
I would not start Keenan Allen over him.
Oh, I wouldn't a heartbeat. God, who else are you talking about?
I wouldn't start Terry McLaurin over him.
I would start Terry McLaurin over him.
Nope, wouldn't do that.
I would. Hey, absolutely.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't start. Who else do you have? You have Deontay Johnson. I wouldn't start
Well,
him.
he's on the bench, but
Man, who else is on?
no,
your
you're
team?
right. I wouldn't start Deontay Johnson over him.
Yeah, no, but I wouldn't start the other two guys over him either.
Oh no, I want to see who it is now. Like, wait, who's my third on that one?
Michael Pittman.
Too many teams.
I wouldn't.
I'd
and I
totally
would
start Pittman
and I
over
would-
him.
No, I wouldn't. No, against the Cowboys, you're crazy.
No, I'd still.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't do that.
No,
no. So Jamar Chase, they've been really cautious with him, but my understanding of the situation is that they don't. Nobody actually knows what's going to happen. He could get out there and not feel great, and they could shut him down.
Yep.
That's a possibility.
He could go.
However, I think that if that doesn't, it's either one or the other. Like, to me, it's either he goes out there and it's not right and they have to shut him down and you're really sad that you started him, or he goes out there, he's fine, and you're really sad you didn't start him.
I don't think there's any scenario where he's just fine. I think every scenario has him limited. Now, does he do amazing chase
He was
things
a full
in his
participant in
limited?
practice.
Okay, every report says that I've seen. Maybe there's been some new ones today.
He was a full participant.
I'm checking it out right
Full
now.
participant in practice today.
It's not quite. Yeah, see everything I read
yeah,
about
so,
how they're, dude,
on
he
the-
is going to be limited.
The Kansas City side, it's really just hard to pick, anything other than
start
Mahomes
Kelsey
and Kelsey.
and start.
Yeah,
you
I wouldn't be excited about Pacheco this week. The Cincinnati defense did a really good job shutting down Derrick Henry last week.
But
Kansas City
different
is a different
scenario though.
animal.
But yeah, I mean you can start Pacheco, but you're not excited about it. Like he's a possible flex play for you. But really, there's nobody else on the Chiefs side you want to start. But you're super excited to start Mahomes, which is hilarious because he's probably going to throw 3 or 4 touchdowns. And
I mean,
it's just a matter of where they go, and there's no way to predict it other
Yeah.
than Kelsey.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether or not the Cincinnati defense is going to be able to put pressure on Mahomes, if they're going to be able to get to him or not, because the back half of their defense has not been playing that well. So my expectation is this is going to be a shootout. And I expect Jamar Chase to go out there and be fine. That is my expectation. I am weary of starting him this week, but based on what I've read, and I've been paying attention to this for weeks, they've been cautious with him. Had they been in a playoff scenario, he could have been playing, and he's as 100% as they can expect him to be.
Did you take over or under on 14 fantasy points from Chase?
That's difficult because that's
Too close?
Because I feel like that. Yeah, over under 11, I'd pick the over.
So, a question: Tyler Boyd or Damon Pierce as a flex?
Damian Pierce, because
Yeah.
because Tyler Boyd wasn't great last week.
Yeah, Tyler.
and with
It's
Jamar
funny
Chase,
because Tyler Boyd usually, when one of those other guys are out, he has a great
you know
game,
who
and
he's-
that just has not been happening this
Well,
year.
but the last couple weeks,
Not
the guy
this
who's
year.
been getting the ball has been Hayden Hurst. The first week that Jamar Chase went down, Tyler Boyd had a monster game. He was like 25 PPR points.
I remember those games, but Chase played, but he went down in that game.
And
you're
then
saying.
the next game it was week 8.
Oh,
The first week that I remember
I have him in one of my leagues,
I
so I've
remember
been
it
riding
because
the roller coaster a
I
little
remember it
bit.
because this was the first thing that made me go, we need to get Slim's Ballers in here to talk about his strategies because he'd been sitting on Tyler Boyd all year long. Chase gets hurt. He plugs Boyd in and gets 25 points out of Boyd.
Well, and going by last year's stats, that's the thing to do.
Right,
But
and
the
it's-
rest of the
yes.
year, that just hasn't played out.
But all I was going to say, Hayden Hurst has been getting targets. So that's if you're wondering what's been going on with Tyler Boyd, that's what's been going on. Is Joe Burrow has been finding Hayden Hurst more often than he was early in the season.
Yeah. So in answer to your question, I'd start Pierce as well. And let's say he just needed a real high ceiling play. He just like needed somebody to go off. Who's more likely to go off, Pierce or Boyd?
Boyd is more likely to give you 20 points than Pierce.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I
too.
think
so. I'm
But
starting
when I
Pierce.
say more likely, I feel like both of those are under 10%.
Yes, I agree. But if you really had to shoot for the moon,
Shoot for the moon, play Boyd.
I can say I can see putting
but if you
Boyd
want
in.
to play a minimum play, like okay, more likely to get you 20, Boyd. More likely to get you 10, Pierce.
Yes, and by a solid more for Pierce there.
But yes. So while both of those guys to get 20 is less than 10%, like I would say that Damian Pierce to score 10 points is probably a 50-50 call.
Oh, I'd put it over that. I'd put it more like 70.
I don't know, dude. The Houston offense was so inept.
I know, but the Cleveland's
so bad.
defense's run funnel, that's going to mean
I'm
something.
sorry, they look so bad.
I hear you.
It's so bad.
But I hope that helps you. And honestly, we didn't really get to the other question as much as we should have, which was what was it, Jimmy G or
I didn't even hear that one.
yeah, it was Jimmy
So I
G or
apologize.
Tua, right?
And I would
Jimmy G. It was more of a comment. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
okay. And yeah,
honestly,
I wouldn't do that.
That's
Like I really feel like the 49ers defense is going to start turning it on.
so you'd rather go Jimmy there?
Huh?
You'd rather go Jimmy than Tua?
I'd rather play Jimmy than Tua.
I think that's a very close call. I think if you're going ceiling, you'd go Tua, and if you're going
but
floor, you
this
go
so
Garoppolo.
just to be clear though, this is me shooting my shot on Tua. This is me calling what I have seen.
How did we get back to the
all
freaking Dolphins?
all season long? He did it.
So hard to get off that game.
He did it.
We're back
But it's
to
the best game of the week.
It is.
Like that's probably like there's a couple of games and it's like the Titans, Eagles, the Dolphins, 49ers, and the Chiefs, Bengals are like
Vikings,
the-
Jets. There's some
there's-
good
there's-
games this week,
week's
man.
good,
This is
yeah.
gonna be fun.
Yes, it's going to be really, really good.
Like you just start naming them, I'm like, holy shit, that's a great game. That's a great.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
And we were stuck on the Lions Jags for a while, if you remember.
Dude,
like, 'cause
right?
There's so
Like,
many,
there's- oh, this
so
is
many
gonna
good
be fun.
games. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a great Sunday.
All right. So should we move on now to Chargers Raiders?
Let's do it.
All right.
So Chargers and the Raiders. Chargers +1, over and under is at 50. If you're betting on the Chargers, -105. If you're betting on the Raiders, -115. Goo.
Big game for the
right.
Chargers.
yeah, this is going to be a fun game fantasy wise, but I don't think anything else. I love Herbert. I love Allen here. I think Raiders are going to score some points. You got to start Devontae Adams, and you've got to start
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. Jeez,
Unless
that guy.
unless he doesn't play, then you start Zamir White.
That guy is so crazy. Last week, Josh Jacobs was
Did
so
you
insane.
see? So I saw this thing. It was a quote from Josh Jacobs. He walked out of the tunnel for the game, and there was a fan that was yelling at him. It was like the best team with no players or something like that, and like just saying all kinds of stuff. And like he was like, and the quote was like, "Thank you." Like you turned me up.
That's funny.
Is what he said. So like he got motivated by some fan right before the game. I love stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
I love hearing stuff like that. And stuff like that is like when you try to remove the emotion from football, you're making a mistake. Like I really feel like you're making a
I
mistake.
don't remove it, but I don't put as much stock in it as you do. I bring it to a lesser degree. But
In fantasy football, there's a certain amount of that you can do that is good, but also I feel like the little bit where you want to reach up, and win. I feel like that's where it is. Is like making calls like that and having an understanding of situations like that. Anyway, digression.
yeah, so Chargers are going to be great. Eckler's going to be great.
I think this
We
whole
talked
game
about
is going to
Herbert
be
out.
great.
Yeah.
This is just because the Chargers can't stop.
Who do you want to
anybody
start
either.
on the Raiders side? Josh Jacobs for sure.
maybe
Adams for sure.
Matt
Is there anybody
Collins.
else? Matt Collins is a maybe. Foster Moreau is a maybe. I mean, so
Foster Moreau. I'm sorry, Foster Moreau. You can start Foster Moreau. You should start Foster
no,
Moreau.
you can start. You
No, I
shouldn't.
think you should.
Dude, he gets 30 yards every week. It's just whether he gets a touchdown or not.
He's gonna give you, like, he does do it though. He gives you 4 catches and 30 yards every week.
4 catches,
and
30
it's like,
yards.
and if you
and then
don't
you're
have,
wondering-
I'm sorry, but if you don't have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and is there any other name that you can throw out there? But if you don't have those two,
Hawkinson
has kind of moved up there for the rest of this year. Schultz, Dalton Schultz.
He's moving up. Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't have one of those like 4 guys, like they're all dart throws.
Yeah.
So if you can tell me that you can guarantee you're going to get 4 catches and 35 yards, sign me up.
That's a pretty low bar. I like to have a little bit more of a
It's
ceiling.
true if you don't have one of those guys.
But his ceiling is a
And-
touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So
But that's the thing, though. Is you tell me like he's going to give you a floor of 4 catches for 35 yards, and then he's got a good chance to score a touchdown. I'll take that guy.
all right. Like that's
'cause I can't-
honestly, to me, you just
okay.
described every tight end.
Name-
every tight end after the top 5.
That's what I'm saying.
So he's
but the other
he's
ones,
one of 10 names.
So yeah, but okay.
I mean, that's fair.
There's only 12 teams in a league, and everybody's got to start a tight end.
Right. And so you've got your top 5 tight ends, and there's 10 names that you're like, meh.
Yeah, and he's in there, and he's
He's
high
one
up
of
on
those
the,
two.
he's high on the list this week for me. That's,
Okay.
that's all I'm saying. Jeez, this guy's like he's out to get me this week. I feel like
I don't know about that one, man.
you know what it
You're
is.
feisty this
You know
week.
what it is.
Are we all going
He's-
Chargers?
He's really upset that he lost his
I am
season long
going
bet
Chargers.
this week.
Are we all going Chargers? Are you going Chargers?
Not yet. I can tie that. Yes.
I can tie. I can still tie.
Ken, are you going Chargers?
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have Colts at the Cowboys.
Everybody going Colts, right? No.
Oh my goodness.
Are plus 10.5. The over/under is 44.5.
Not enough.
And it's not. It probably isn't. And if you're betting on the Colts, plus 410. If you're betting on the Cowboys, minus 520.
So,
Yeah.
what I love about the Cowboys in 2022 is that when they come across teams where you expect them to pummel them, they do. I like that. Like that. That's
Yeah, no, that's a sign of a good team.
I've been a Cowboys fan for a long time, and there's been so many times.
seen this in so long.
Well, yeah, seriously. There's been so many times where it's like we were supposed to beat a team, handily, and maybe lost in a close match, instead of winning that game. Or even if we did win, it was a lot closer and a lot more stressful than it should have been. And this year, they have not been doing that. Their defense has just been so solid. Like they've
built this team around the defense.
they don't
and
have
you can
they
tell.
just don't have lapses. The defense just shows up every single possession. It's awesome.
They look good. So fantasy wise, let's talk about some offenses. I mean, we're all taking the Cowboys here. We think they're going to dominate. It's just a matter of how much they win by. Can you start any Colts? I mean, this is a rough
You
game
have
for
to
them.
start
I think
Jonathan
you start
Taylor.
and you still have to start Pittman. I think,
You have to start Michael Pittman.
but I think you can stop after that.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. It was super interesting that Jelani Woods had 8 catches in the last game.
Right.
It was really because he's a freak athlete. He's like 6'8", 240 pounds, 250 pounds or something like that. He's a big dude. And Matt Ryan was looking for him. So maybe that'll continue. Like Matt Ryan's not
But
gonna,
I mean, you're not starting him, and is he even in consideration as a dart throw in DFS?
yes.
Okay, so
That's-
he's a DFS dart throw, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
I'm
that's
saying.
fair.
I took notice of that. I've been watching these Colts tight ends for a while, waiting for one of them to kind of break out because Matt Ryan throughout his career has peppered a tight end. Like he made Hayden Hurst a name in Atlanta before Hayden Hurst left for. Actually, I shouldn't say. I think he came from Baltimore and then went to Atlanta and was good in Atlanta after Tony Gonzalez. Anyway. I've been waiting for one of them to emerge as like the number one. So maybe that's Jelani Woods, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that that's like super super interesting.
I'm looking up how much Woods cost this week in DFS.
It's just that like tight end is so bad that we're constantly watching these like middling tight ends to be like just hopeful that they become a spark in their offense and they become like an integral part of their offense because there's literally 2 of them in the league that exist.
Are we done?
He's not on the slate. He's the night game. Damn it.
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to win
My
this
bad.
game.
I think we're done with that game. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the primetime game of Monday night. Saints at the Bucks. So we got
Fight night, baby.
Dude, it's hilarious. Like we have. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so Saints is plus 3.5. The over under at 40.5. If you're betting on the Saints, plus 160, and if you're betting on the Bucks, minus 190.
We have so many amazing games this week, and this is the Monday night game. This is come on, man. Nobody wants to see this.
Well, dude, the Sunday night game is flexible.
Yeah, they flexed it this week too.
No, so why is it Colts Cowboys? Like with
That's
all,
going to be a
with-
boring. Well, just because the
all
Cowboys
those
fans
things-
want to see their Cowboys. That's why.
well,
There's a lot of Cowboy fans.
Well,
It's not-
before it was flexed, it was Broncos at
know-
the Ravens.
Okay.
they flexed the Broncos at the Ravens Sunday night game.
that makes
out.
sense.
you say that, and you're talking to the Cowboy fan who doesn't like seeing his team on primetime. So, like,
I would say that's not average.
well, you know what? I actually I don't necessarily think it's Cowboys fans. I think people want to see the Cowboys fail. So
I
it's
think the
like, it's
Cowboys
more-
got
it's-
flexed twice, huh?
So it's more like watching the Yankees.
I think it got flexed twice. I don't think Cowboys were. I think
They flexed out.
They flexed out the Broncos, but they didn't
was the Broncos
flex them-
Ravens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't flex
They should-
straight to
it-
Cowboys.
they
They flexed
should
another
have-
team, and then they flexed again to Cowboys. Colts.
Like it should have been the
think
the
that's how it
Jets and
happened.
Vikings. That's what they should have done. That should be the primetime game.
Jets, Vikings, Miami, San Francisco,
Like,
Kansas City, Bengals.
The only reason I don't
mean,
say Miami, San Francisco is because I think those teams have both been on primetime recently. Like,
the
But-
games are just too good and too relevant. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
but you should be like, they shouldn't, in my opinion, they shouldn't be flexing teams into the primetime slot just to get ratings.
Oh yeah, but that's what they're doing. But that's what they're doing.
So businesses shouldn't do things just to make money.
Yeah.
Good point. I agree with you, but that shit's not going to happen.
Well,
That's not the direction the NFL's going, at least. Like
thank-
last
hey, you
season,
know what?
I had
Hold
like
on.
3 subscriptions so I could watch whatever game I feel like. And now this season, it feels like I would, in order to do that, I would have had to subscribe to like 5 different platforms in order to be able to watch
All the different
any
games,
game that I wanted to watch. So it's obviously not. And then Apple TV is going to be thrown in the mix here pretty soon. And so now
Oh,
you're
that's
going to
right,
have to have
yeah.
like 6 subscriptions in order to catch whatever football game you want to watch. And it's-
and I think that is a so all I'm gonna say is that it seems like a short-sighted business decision. Like it's like now.
I want an option out there
really
to,
funny to me
buy
how
your
like
team's
these
ticket.
how
I
these
want
like
that.
shooting fish in a barrel business decisions like I present like an alternate idea and then you're like and then you just like you hit me with the the business bat in the face and it's like how is it like isn't it also possible that the business could grow greater like if these other brands became bigger?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And you know what? If they would ever go long term, okay. So from in the business world, actually, I'll take a time out here. And from a business perspective, right? Japan is known for playing the long term strategy. Their business
they're
plan,
risk adverse.
Their business plan model is something about 50 years. So, like for example, Toyota had a 50-year business plan in order to become one of the top companies out there as far as the car market goes. The American business plan is way different. They got way different point of views, and it's really just to satisfy the now
Yep.
within the 2 to 3 year
18
span.
months. American business is 18
Yeah.
months.
And
If you don't
that-
like, if I'm going to make an investment in you and you don't turn me the exact profit number that you told me you were going to turn in 18 months, I'm probably suing your ass. That's
So just
that's
a
American
little-
business.
Just a little caveat. So back to the
America.
Saints.
That's a great caveat, and I think that's a great way to look at
And
things.
I look at things a little less from the American side. Like I've really
Like I say,
like
I
this is
agree
a
with
side.
what
This is
you
also
were
a little bit of a
saying,
sidebar
just
too.
not that that's
is like
what's
you
gonna
and
happen.
we'll have a conversation after the show is over about like politics and stuff like that. But that has really made me like have a better understanding of where mentally, like where I align in business and political ideals, and it's definitely not American.
Back to the Saints at Bucks. Are we
Which
all?
is super interesting because I've never been anywhere else.
Right.
So how do I have these like internal ideas that don't jive with what we're doing here?
There's
in
a
America?
lot of reasons.
It's
we
Are
can
we
talk about it.
split on this game? Or are we all going Bucks? What's going on here?
I think the
We
Saints
didn't
are
even
so
really talk about this game
bad.
because this game sucks.
I know, right?
Because
So
the
let's
Saints,
just move
the
on.
Saints just suck. No,
Oh, yeah.
let's not. Hold on. Let's give the Saints their due in terms of telling people about how much they suck. And like Alvin Kamara is just so disappointing this season. I'm so like I moved off of him in a couple of spots. Like in my dynasty league, I traded out of him, and in my work league on ESPN, I traded out of him, and I just feel like a genius.
And I stuck with him in a couple of leagues, and I don't feel like an idiot yet.
You
but
brave soldier,
in
you.
3 or 4 more games, I might. And this is another one that could be a little disappointing for Kamara. You still have to start him. I'm still starting him. Everywhere I have him.
Yeah, you can't sit him. I just feel like to trade
And
him.
I'm still starting Taysom Hill everywhere I have him. I want to talk about Taysom because he didn't have a good stat line last week for points, but I still love him rest of season. And I still stand by everything I said last week. He had like 7 rushes.
Last week was a
He
bad
had
matchup.
3 pass attempts.
And also, he dropped a touchdown.
He
You
dropped
watched
a
that,
touchdown.
right? Like I swear to God,
he
I
had
almost-
a catch. Like,
I was gonna pause that. I was gonna take a screenshot of that and send it in the group chat and say because it was right around the time that it was like becoming like confirmed that you were gonna lose your matchup for the week.
Yeah.
And ours was over and I was winning, and I was gonna. This is your season. This is Brian's season right here. Taysom Hill dropping this touchdown catch, and
set up for success.
Actually,
but
and you
yet.
know what? Honestly, like on that note, real quick, it wasn't just that. Like, did you watch the Bengals Titans game?
Not much of it, no.
So you don't know about what happened with Derrick Henry?
What?
When I say that, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nothing rings a bell right
So
away.
you don't know that he caught a 65-yard screen pass.
Oh, no,
and
I
then
saw that,
dropped
yes.
the ball.
No, I very much saw that. Because it was
I
on
love
Red
fantasy
Zone.
football so
Yeah,
much.
because it's on Red Zone, and I'm watching. I'm like, yes, yes, and my kids are looking at me like I'm worried. Oh God, Dad's going off again. And I'm like, no. It changed so fast. Like, what the f just happened?
That was another game that I made sure to rewatch this weekend. And when I saw that, I just died laughing so hard because I didn't even know that had happened until I rewatched
Oh,
it. but
I knew. I saw that live. Yes.
that was epic.
So are we all picking the Bucks?
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, we got to take the Bucks here. And
Okay, hold on, real quick. We're picking the Bucks because we all still believe that they have a shot, right?
I'm picking the Bucks. I don't.
Is that where we're? Because I feel like personally that's where I'm at on the Bucks. Is like they have enough pieces. They've got Tom Brady. They've got a puncher's chance.
a puncher's chance. Yeah, they
That's-
have a low percentage.
That's how we
chance.
feel
Yeah.
about them, right? Like
Yeah.
they're going to be in the show, and like in the playoffs.
No, I don't feel like I feel like they have a chance to be in the playoffs.
Who's going to win their division?
Who else is in the division?
always forget to look.
Saints.
Carolina and Atlanta.
Carolina and Cardinals are on a bye this week. By the
They're
way,
so
people.
lucky. I forgot about that. My God, worst division in football.
And you know what's funny?
Yeah, no,
and you
you're
know
right.
what's
They're-
funny?
they're
It's
gonna win
like
their
so,
division.
and now you look over at the AFC East, and the Patriots are in last place at 6-6, and for forever that was like the worst division in football. Remember? Because it was like you could just it was 4 automatic wins for the Patriots when they played the Jets and the Dolphins every year. 4 automatic,
Right.
and it's like almost 6 because
Yeah.
the Bills too. Those teams were so bad for so long, and then Brady gets out, and and all of a sudden all of those teams are good. Yeah, it's really funny. And he goes to the NFC South, and all of a sudden all of those teams are bad. He's a really smart businessman.
Knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. And
So, yeah, we all
and
take
so,
the Bucks.
Sort
and
of,
so
right?
how
I mean-
could you pick against him?
He did lose all that money in anyway.
Oh, and Bitcoin.
and crypto.
FTX, yeah.
So are we ready to move on to Raiders at Rams Thursday night?
Thursday night game.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh wow, what a bad game.
so Raiders are -5 with the over under at 42.5. If you're betting on
The Raiders, you're at minus 205, and if you're betting on the Rams, plus 175.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're still starting Williams. Williams is going to get a lot of the.
I mean,
the
all
work.
you can say is you're going to start Josh Jacobs. You're going to start Devontae Adams, and God,
Pollard, if you can
other than
find
that,
him.
you're probably going to skip the Thursday night game and move on to Sunday.
I'll watch it.
I haven't. Yeah. I am gonna. The Rams are at home.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick the Rams,
Ooh.
and that is all that I will say about this game.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lone wolf the Raiders, and
The Raiders probably win.
yeah, they're probably who knows. Who
So,
cares, man?
our-
God, what an awful game.
So go ahead and just run us through the fantasy prospects of this, real quick.
And that's what I'm saying is there's not a lot. Like Josh Jacobs, he's been so on fire that if he's playing, you have to play him. And Devontae Adams is absolutely amazing and getting an incredible target share, so you can't go away from him. But there's really nobody else on the Raiders you want to play, with the possible exception of Mr. Moreau there that we were talking about earlier. But like I say, that's a very unexciting, and that's just a kind of like, well, if you need to kind of thing, like you can. And on the Rams side, like we just talked about it a minute ago against Seattle, I think it's kind of this. Even with the Raiders being such a bad defense, like with Perkins in there at quarterback, like you don't know what's going on at
You gotta
running
just
back.
gotta, you kind of just got to give it to Williams. Like you're gonna start Williams because he's just taking the workload right now. I even picked him.
We
I think
hope.
in our DraftKings.
Okay.
He's pretty cheap right now. If things start going their way, you might even want to look at Pollard a little bit because he doesn't get as many touches, but he is pretty productive when he does. I think from a Rams standpoint, a Rams fan standpoint.
Wait, I'm sorry, Pollard. What position?
Well, see, because typically so typically he receives, right, like your.
What position is he? What
I
position
don't
is
know.
he? Oh, okay. I'm like, who is Pollard?
But every
I don't
now and
recognize the
then,
name.
every now and then, they put him back at running back to go get us some yards.
okay.
You know what I mean? And it's like he's almost just as productive as some of the running backs on the team. And if they would just go, you know what? Let's just start him at running back.
Let's just get a shot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we are a game or two away from McVay just being like, you know what? Let's just start Pollard at running back and let him
Let's
go.
try
for
it. See what happens.
So
Start who? at
Maybe we
running
can
back?
use him next
Pollard.
year.
Who?
That's
Pollard.
what I said.
he receives. He receives sometimes punt returns and he receives sometimes kickoff
But he's
returns.
been getting a
and
couple
every
of
now
carries.
and then he'll get a touch at running back. And when he does, he
Powell?
seems Powell. Yeah, I think
Powell.
Powell.
Okay.
I don't know why I said Pollard. So yeah.
Yeah, he's an electric player. So yeah, that's funny. And you know what? Last night the Patriots put their punt returner in on offense. His first offensive snap, he catches a wide receiver screen and houses it. So
Awesome.
if you got
Now's the
something
time
like-
for Rams to start trying to do shit like that.
if you've got players who are talented with the football in their hands, you should be finding a way to put the football in their hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
You saw that Kavonte Turpin won the Angry Runs Award.
I did not see that this week. I was like, who is Turpin?
He's 5'8", 165 pounds.
What? Who does he play for?
The Cowboys.
What did he do? Like, he just,
He made the team because he returned 2 kicks for scores in a preseason game this year,
okay.
and he's been good. Like he's been a very good kick returner. I've been like very happy to have him back there.
Just one of those guys. You're not sure what you're going to do with him. Man, he's just too talented to let go. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's cool.
That's exactly what's going on. And then and obviously he's a good football player too, because like now his winning of the Angry Run Torch, the Scepter, was like whatever. Like it's definitely not the
Chaka,
It's
we'll get to
probably
your
going to be
question here in a
the worst
second.
Angry Run of the year, but it was super impressive because of his size. He's 5'8", 165 pounds, and a safety came barreling down on him, and he hit the safety, and the safety went backwards.
Nice.
So we got a couple YouTube questions out there. I think we're
Excellent.
good with this Raiders game.
Oh yeah.
Fields or Herbert this week?
Ooh, that's a good
Herbert.
question.
I
Herbert.
think Chaka's a first-time YouTube question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. but-
I'd
but
say Herbert, even if there was no questions about Fields' health, but there are questions about Fields' health.
Man,
so
he's just
that
a-
makes it completely easy to me. Like, you have to go Herbert there.
I need a beer when you get a chance.
You got it.
I think this is another one of those like we were talking earlier. We were more likely to get you 10 points was going to be Damian Pierce, but more likely to get you 20 points was going to be Tyler Boyd. This is a similar situation. It's like more likely to get you 25 points is going to be Justin Herbert, but more likely to get you 40 points is going to be Justin Fields still. And while I'm not, and it's a low percentage. It's a low percentage for either of those guys to hit 40 points. I would still say it's higher for Justin Fields.
And I would agree that it's to get 40 points. You're right, Justin
But
Fields.
25, which is what you want.
I would say 30.
Even 30.
30.
I agree. Even
30
30
points,
Even 30.
Herbert's gonna get it for
because
you.
I think that's where Herbert's at.
Yes.
Like I said this earlier. Like we were before we got on. Tonight. Herbert to me is the number one quarterback rest of the season.
Okay. So we both agree Herbert. Fields
Because
is
Herbert's been getting it done at a respectable level all year long while his guys have all been hurt.
Yes.
He's had nobody all year long, and now his guys are coming back.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to have Mike Williams this week, but he will have Keenan Allen at close to full strength.
And now that he has like that built up rapport with the other guys too, I just feel like he's even more dangerous. Like
Yeah.
the team's even more dangerous.
Yeah, I agree.
And their schedule is they have the best schedule for quarterbacks in the rest of the season.
Whew, and one of my teams is really relying on it, man. I've got the Allen Herbert connection that just like I'm 7-5.
I tried to get Allen from you. Like I didn't try hard enough, but I wanted to get Allen from you.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't as like committed to the idea. Like I'm still not like sold on Keenan Allen, but like I wanted to pair him with Justin Herbert because I
For
wanted
sure.
to have a Herbert target because I just believe in Herbert that much.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
agree.
mean?
And one of my leagues, man, I'm really relying on him here at the end of the run. So
And as a comment, we have what is he saying that if Travis Etienne doesn't play, he's going to move Pierce from his flex into his running back 2 spot.
Yeah, and I mean that's not a bad position to be in. But
Yeah, that's not horrible.
I would based on what I have read and heard, Travis Etienne is a full go this week.
okay, I hadn't heard full go yet.
Yeah. My understanding is that they were just very, very cautious with him last week.
Okay. Actually, no. I did see that alert. Actually, that was just a few hours ago, huh? I was at this afternoon.
I think actually for me, it was something I heard on ESPN yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And then I went and I read about it, and he was a full participant in practice, so he should be good to go. Like you shouldn't. I don't think he's carrying an injury designation into the game.
All right.
So, that being said, I got something a little fun for us to do here for a second before we move on to draft.
We don't like fun things at all.
So right now we just gave our week 13 pick'em scores projections, and year to date, who are we beating? Right. So number one right now, Brian's got 109 picks correct. So who out there is Brian beating? Brian is beating Seth Wickersham from ESPN. He's beating Dan Graziano
That's a good one.
from ESPN. He's
That's a good
beating
one.
John Breach from CBS. He's beating Michael David Smith from NBC Sports. He's beating Pete Prisco.
Hold on.
Michael David Smith has got 106 picks right
David's.
from NBC
Oh,
Sports.
that's Michael Smith, formerly of ESPN.
He's beating Pete Prisco. He's beating DraftKings. He's beating FanDuel. He's beating USA Today, Jarrett Bell. He's beating College Football News, Nick Shepkowski. Brad Castranovo from Gridiron Experts. He's beating Mike Clay from ESPN.
Mike Clay. Hey. Mike Clay's my dude.
He's beating Will Brinson from CBS. And me and Ken have tied Will Brinson from CBS. And now who are me and Ken beating? Me and Ken are beating Will Brinson from Jeremy Fowler from ESPN.
Take that, Jeremy Fowler.
We are beating Gridiron.
That's a good one too.
We're beating Gridiron Experts James Breyer. We're beating Yahoo Sports and Yahoo Users. We are beating Mike Finelli from FF Faceoff. We're beating Jason Law.
That's actually awesome. Thank you for this. I didn't.
Yeah.
This is fun.
I like the ego boost.
Yeah.
We're beating Jason Law.
Yeah, because we're not out here like trying to like looking at all these guys, like what they're doing. I have no idea what their predictions have been for the year. You know,
Right.
we do this based on what we think we know. You know,
Yeah.
so that's really cool. That is really cool.
And we're beating Jason La Canfora from CBS. We're beating Jason Reed.
Good, dude.
We're beating Jason Reed from ESPN. We're beating Jeremy Moss from College Football News. Let's see here. Let's read off.
Jason Lockenfora. That's pretty good from NFL Network.
Let's see here. Let's read off a couple more of these ESPN guys. We're beating Dominique Foxworth from ESPN.
He's good too.
FanDuel, we're beating Brian Pierre. Now, at this point, we are 25 games ahead of everybody else that is of significance to read about. So that's right. Who's beating us?
Who's at the top of this
cares?
list?
Hardly
Let's go to the top of this list. We want to know.
Okay, so the top broadcaster right now is Jamie Eisenberg
Jamie's
from CBS
Jamie
at
is good.
118. So you're 9 games behind
that's
him.
really good, dude. To only be a one-off per week on Jamie Eisenberg, like less than one. Jamie's really smart.
Oh no, dude! I know Jamie.
Yeah, he's one of the best fantasy football players out there.
And USA Today's Nate Davis is also at 118. Mike Florio from NBC Sports is at 116. So those are the top three experts.
Where's Matthew Berry on there? Because he's been killing the NBC guys.
Let
on,
me see.
on Sunday night or not? Yeah, on Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
I think he's only gotten one wrong.
What's his name? Barry?
Matthew Berry, the fantasy football king.
Yeah, no, he's good. I listen to him from time to time.
He's
You
not
listen to
coming
his
up.
new show?
He's not coming
Have you
up.
listened to his new show?
Not as no.
Listen to the new show, Happy Hour. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I need to. What was the 2 weeks ago? You were telling me about a
Oh, the
podcast.
CSS DFS ESPN.
Yeah, hold
So
on.
he's
I need to get this.
so Matthew Berry's not coming up as far as any
So
common
he
spells.
probably doesn't pick all the games. He probably just picks Sunday Night Football
Okay, so
because he works for ESPN or for NBC now. So
all right, so that is that. We can move on
that's
to
really cool.
DraftKings.
Thanks for that, buddy.
CFS, DFS?
CSS
Oh, CSS.
DFS.
Oh, we got a question. Who should be my flex this if this happens? Boyd, London, or Sutton?
Ooh, Sutton.
Wait, what was the? Say it again.
Boyd, London, or Sutton?
For what was
Flex.
the? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, he-
I thought he was saying DFS for
Tyler
for some
Boyd.
reason. But yeah, no, you go Sutton
Cortland,
there.
yeah,
you
Cortland
go
Sutton and Drake London, and like and,
You take the sure thing points, and if you just really absolutely need a super high score, maybe you take Boyd instead of Sutton. But
honestly, if I wanted the super high score, if I was like trying to get the highest score, the highest ceiling, I think it's Drake London.
really,
I do, because we know they're going to be behind.
Marcus Mariota is still the quarterback.
He is
right?
actually still a quarterback, and that's
Okay.
concerning.
That is concerning.
That's concerning. not. But I really do feel that way. Like, and that's not a shot at the Steelers. I just feel that way. Like I really like Drake London.
Well,
But yeah, but if my fantasy season was on the line, I'm starting Cortland Sutton in that situation.
Yeah, I would too.
so I guess I can go ahead and go first.
Oh, yeah, DFS
DraftKings. We're gonna pull up our DraftKings
Cash
lineups.
line up first, baby.
Cash lineup first. I did win. I did place in our tournament lineup last
I
week. So
lost, so I think I should probably take a shot.
That's right. Okay, so if you guys are just curious about our totals, this is actually one thing I am keeping up with these guys with. I've got 5 week wins. Ken has 4 week wins, and Brian has 3 week wins.
But I just want to point out the total on the bottom there. Like I have the fewest week wins, but I have the highest total. I'm just saying.
That's why I put
So
it
that
in
means
there.
you got
Some-
luckiest. You got
some redeeming
Yes,
stuff.
you guys are getting lucky. That's what I'm saying.
You got luckiest the hardest one week is what it sounds
whatever.
like.
So my cash.
I am most consistent. That's all I'm saying.
That's not what it says.
That's what it
You
says.
get 3 wins. You're least consistent.
So cash
I get
lineup.
second most often.
Here we go.
You're the Terry Labonte of fantasy football. So
sorry, Ray.
Sorry,
No,
I
that's cool.
had to throw that out there. Terry Labonte once won a NASCAR championship with 0 wins.
Ah,
So
what a stud.
Yeah, what a stud.
starting at quarterback, I have from Miami Dolphins Tua, running back Montgomery. I'm picking up Williams because he's 5,200 from the Los Angeles Rams, and I just feel like he's going to get a bunch of touches. Boyd from Cincinnati because Chase is kind of hurt, so he was only 5,300. Against Kansas City, I felt like that was probably going to be the go-to. Kirk from Jacksonville, Metcalf from Seattle, Hawkinson from Minnesota. I think Hawkinson's been a little consistent there. And even though you guys were kind of like on the fence, I picked Smith Schuster as my flex. And I could see the.
No, it's a great start. Like,
I-
Juju is a great start.
I feel like this game is probably my most bang for my buck for defense, and that's actually Chicago at Green Bay at 2,700.
You pick Chicago?
Yes, I picked Chicago.
Interesting.
Doesn't believe in Aaron Rodgers, does he?
Sounds like he doesn't, but
Sounds
this-
like he's been listening
hey,
to my side of the argument.
This guy, hey, but you know what? This guy also said the Bengals were taking a step back this year.
They still look like they are.
They have a better record right now than
You're
they
talking
did
to the
this
guy
time
with
last
5 wins, man. You're only at 4. I don't want to.
year. Yeah, I know. I should have shut up.
I'm just saying.
Only he's like right behind me. Only at 4.
All right. So my cash lineup. Let's lead off with Justin Herbert at $7,200.
You didn't. You suck.
Yeah, I did. I mean, he's my guy.
I thought that was. Yeah, I thought it was getting different there with Herbert.
Herbert's my guy. What are you talking about? I traded for him in week 1.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So Herbert at quarterback, $7,200. We don't know exactly how he's going to get it done, but he's just been getting it done. And cash lineup, like we've talked about, you're looking for 3-1. Herbert to me seems like a lock at 4-1 on this number.
Yep.
Like I don't see how he scores less than 25.
25. Yep.
That's
my number too.
I
Yeah.
really don't. At running back, I've got Najee Harris. At
Oh, nice.
At $6,100. Najee.
I was thinking about him.
Like, Najee is a really good football player.
Mm-hmm.
And really good football players don't like it when you talk about the guys that are behind them.
Fair enough.
He's had a couple of really good games, so I imagine he's probably just going to be more motivated to go out there and beat the crap out of the Falcons, who've not been very good. So yeah, I like at $6,100. You just like you said.
My only concern about him is that abdominal injury. Like I just don't know how
I don't
bad
worry
it was.
too much about that.
And-
With
and
running backs, I don't worry
tend
about
to
stuff like
agree.
that. I'm with you. Like
He's
leg
come-
injuries with running backs are what you
Yes.
worry about.
Yeah, agreed.
And so I think that his $6,100 number is like if he scores a touchdown, you're in the money. And I just this like he's had a couple of touchdowns stolen from him the last couple of weeks. He to me. And Brian hates this. He's due.
I will say he has been looking good, and
He's looked
it would be a
fantastic.
shame
the
if he
last
doesn't
couple.
score very
He's
soon.
really
Yes.
looked good. At my other running back spot at $6,200, I got David Montgomery.
Yep, good spot.
Yeah, the Packers just gave up 300 yards rushing. In case anybody missed that, 300 yards rushing in one game to the Eagles last week. At wide receiver, we're gonna go revenge game, $7,800. AJ Brown
Cool. Started
he
an eagle. I love it.
already has a 3.
You know that's going to bite you in the
I
ass.
love. I you know what? I was so disappointed when the Eagles traded for AJ Brown because I'm such a fan. I like him. I like him so much.
He's great.
And I hate the Eagles so much. But you know what? I can turn that off for AJ Brown. I can root for AJ Brown.
Fair enough.
As long as he's not playing against the Cowboys, I can still root for AJ Brown. So anyway, I feel like $7,800 was already kind of like a really good deal for AJ Brown, considering that Devontae Smith is hurt. You throw in the fact that it's the revenge game, and it could be a monster game.
All right.
This could be a monster game. At $6,000, I got Tyler Lockett,
Okay.
Mr. Consistency this year. And at 5,300, one of my favorite plays of the
Yeah.
week, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that's the obvious play of the week.
Yeah, he's just like he has been monstrous. He's that dude, and with
And now there might be a quarterback to throw to him.
I don't want to talk about that. We don't have to talk about why he's great right now. Like in terms of we just focus on Garrett. Why you got to bring other people down?
Sorry.
God.
Positive podcast, my bad.
Thank you. Unless we're talking about the Eagles, okay? But no, yeah, like I'm not ready to drop my Zach Wilson baton. To me, they're a team that was too good to put up with his growing pains.
This year, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not done with Zach Wilson. I'm
Yeah,
not.
you should throw that baton very far.
I know how you feel, but I like him better than Pickett. At tight end, $3,500 seems way too low. Hayden Hurst. He's just been getting it done the last couple of weeks. He's like at $3,500. He's gonna pay you, and then if he scores a touchdown, it's just like you're way in the money. My favorite play probably on this list now after the week has gone along in flex is $5,300 Brian Robinson.
Okay.
Antonio Gibson not going to play this weekend. Brian Robinson has been getting work and been putting up fantasy numbers anyway. Like that $5,300 number was probably worth it before Gibson got hurt and wasn't going to play. Now that Gibson's not going to hurt, he seems like a monster play to me, just an absolute monster play.
Okay.
And then in defense, this seems too low. $2,600.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh at Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just like Mariota is just going to be toast, I think.
Yeah, you got to play the Steelers. Like their cash game, like they're like for $2,600, they're only $400 above the Stone Min.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
I
and
saw
they're
that.
guaranteed like 7 points. Like, yeah, you have to take the Steelers D.
TJ Watt's still playing, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, okay. He's worth it by
Oh,
himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll start on the defense. I started Steeler D.
So yeah, that will complete my cash game lineup. And moving on to Brian.
Yeah, I've got the same quarterback with Herbert, and I am shocked that you did not go with Keenan Allen as his hookup there.
It's because this is cash.
I know, and Keenan Allen is like guaranteed targets. He's
You say
only
that, and I don't know
6,500.
that. I don't
Mike
know
Williams
that.
isn't in there.
I know, but DeAndre Carter and Josh Palmer have been so good.
Not last
So-
week, or Palmer anyway.
Palmer didn't put up the numbers last week, but that's the thing to me is like with that Chargers, real quick, that Chargers offense is starting to get to the point where like they're all good enough that you actually just don't know where Herbert's going to go with the football.
I agree with that,
Other than
but
Eckler.
you need Allen or even Mike Williams out there to kind of like make things go. If you don't have either one of those, I think he's proven
It's more of a
it's-
struggle. It's been
yes,
more of a
it's
struggle for sure. I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that's my connection is Herbert to Allen, and then my running backs. I went strong here. I went with Nick Chubb. I think
It was hard for me not to put him in.
yeah.
It was super hard.
Against the Houston defense, I mean, my goodness.
It's 8,000 for Nick Chubb, so you're looking at 24. You need 24, 25 points for him to like pay you off.
Yep.
And it still is hard not to think he's going to
It's
get
like,
it.
that
you just
seems
expect it
pretty
to
good,
happen.
yeah.
He's playing against Houston.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
And my next running back is Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has a great matchup against Chicago.
What was he like 72?
69.
Oh wow, that's a good deal. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He was just a great deal. That's the big reason why I took him is because how could he not get 20 points there against Chicago? My wide receivers, Keenan Allen, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Just feels like he's going to have a great week against Jacksonville. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. And so I want to get some pieces of it, and he's a huge piece of that puzzle. And then, of course, Mr. Wilson from the Jets, wide receiver, 5,300. I mean, just seems like a free square this week. Kind of hard to get away from him, really.
As he's my fourth receiver in our league of record, I love hearing that.
Dude, he's good right now. He is good.
As is my receiver core in our league of record.
And you're right. You're right. The rest of the team looks a little iffy, but yeah,
Oh,
you're right.
so
Your
you don't like
receiving core
Justin
is
Herbert, you don't like
awesome.
Mark Andrews, you don't like the Cowboys defense, you don't like Daniel Carlson.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the running back in
I'm
there.
sorry. The running backs are shit.
I was listening for the running back. Sorry.
But you know what? That was my strategy this year.
Yeah.
Was I really just didn't think like, first of all, what happens with running backs every year is that at some point you get to the end of the year and someone is leaning on somebody that they picked up off the waiver wire, and not only that, and like leaning on them and like successfully that like that guy turned out to be a top 10 running back, and he was on no one's roster.
Ken Walker, baby.
Exactly. Exactly. He was on nobody's roster all the way until it was time to pick him up, and then you pick him up, and he's a top 10 running back the rest of the year.
stud.
So I did not put a whole lot of resources into running back. The most resources I put into running back was Zeke, and he paid off.
Yeah, I can't remember how much you paid for
20.
him. Okay, yeah. He paid off for 20. But-
You realize he's a top 12 running back the last 4 games he started.
But you've started him, so you know the ups and downs that you've gone through, like doing that. But yeah, no, his good weeks, you're like, no, dude, I got Zeke.
And the rest of the season, I feel like he's going to be a monster.
He's gonna be good. Like it's gonna be going back and forth, but he's gonna be worth starting every week. Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your lineup. There's something I want to get out.
I didn't really want to finish my lineup. The last two, I'm like not super proud of. So I was like willing to like do a little conversation there.
Sorry, we should have coordinated a little better. I could have just covered you. We could have gone into the cash line.
My last two picks are tight end. I had to punt a little bit here. Once you get below, I think it's like 3,600 or so on tight end. Like, there's just nothing. There's about 6 or 7 people you can punt with.
Yeah. So Foster Moreau's at 3,600, and then Hayden Hurst is 35.
Right.
Yeah, and then I think Evan Ingram is 3,000 this week.
Yes,
and so
you just guessed my tight end.
Yeah,
of the week.
and I was going to say he's probably the best start you can make for like.
And the main thing,
that level.
and the main reason is because he's going up against the Detroit defense, which is absolutely horrible against tight ends.
And we
so
expect him to be like the 3rd highest targeted player for the
Yes.
Jaguars
And
in a
we-
game that's going to have a lot of points.
that's the biggest thing. But like I'm looking at all my tight end options, and it's like, well, this game has
So-
obviously got the highest total. I think that is going to happen, so that's the one I took. And then my flex is Sky Moore. So moving on.
You flex Sky Moore, huh?
I flex
For how
Sky
much?
Moore. 3,100. So he's
3,100.
basically the Stone Min.
3,100.
He's going to get some opportunities, and you never know there. Yeah, I don't feel super great about that one.
I don't
but
hate it.
He's been getting more work.
I don't hate it at all. I think I've been watching him too. They like.
I don't hate it. I don't feel good
If
about
you've
it.
been watching the Chiefs at all for the last few weeks, the Chiefs have had a quote unquote Sky Moore package,
Yeah.
where like he comes into the game and they obviously run their offense around him a little bit. They like him a lot. So yeah, no, I don't hate that at all. In a game where you expect they're going to need to score points for $3,100, no, that's fine.
Yep. There you go.
And then your defense was, I'm sorry.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay.
That was
right.
my first
Right,
one.
you let
yeah.
off with this one. You let off with that. So-
I guess I'll go ahead and go back. We can go reverse
Tournament.
order here. Tournament. As always, the tournament lineups are always just a little iffy, man. You're going through this, going, do I really want to do this? But it's kind of what you have to do. Like I'm entering a big tournament here, so when you're having to beat out 20,000+ people, you got to get a little different, and you got to do something right and get lucky, and that's what we're going for this week. So at quarterback, we are going with Trevor Lawrence. Again, that Jacksonville-Detroit game, I think, is going to score a lot of points. So Trevor Lawrence is on an upswing. Let's see if he can have one of those really great weeks, scoring 30 points or more. I'm sticking with Nick Chubb at running back because, I expect him to be great this week. I really do.
he could be RB1.
And going in that direction, the other guy that I think that could be RB1 is Derrick Henry. So I went ahead and put him in my lineup too. So with the savings,
That's a hot take.
Yeah, with the savings from Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk.
How much was Trevor Lawrence? I'm sorry.
59.
That's good.
Yeah, and Kirk is only 663, and going against the Detroit defense. So you gotta love that. So I'm going to go back the other way with St. Brown on the Detroit side to make sure I've got a little bit something coming on the other side on that game. Wilson, Garrett Wilson, you just can't get away from it. 5,300, like that's just the free square.
I did.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's tough to do.
We'll talk about it.
At tight end, had to go with the Muth.
The Muth!
I don't know if you can see the shirt here, but the Muth will get Luth this weekend. I feel really good about that one. I paid up at 4,300. I mean, that's not paying up a lot, but for the consistency that the Muth has been putting out there, I think
Do you notice
he's still
that
a deal at 43.
Darren Waller and Dallas Goedert are still the number 5 and 6 most expensive tight ends on the
Just
top.
in case.
They
might come back.
That's how bad tight end is.
I agree.
That's how bad tight end is that a tight end that has basically done nothing all year long and is on IR right now is the 5th highest you could pay on DraftKings for a tight end.
And you have to remember that going into draft season.
Literally, and people use this word way too much, but this literally makes no sense.
Yeah. And like I said, going into draft season, you have to remember that, guys. You have to remember that. It's so important. Tight end, if you don't get one of the top 2 or 3,
Yeah, don't do it.
just punt.
Yeah, there's no.
You'll figure something out later.
Don't waste. Yeah, never waste a rounds 3 through 7 pick on a tight end. Don't ever do that.
Yep.
Don't ever do that.
So I don't know if you were paying attention to my lineup there, but you might have seen some pretty high prices there.
For some just to qualify that, I drafted Kyle Pitts a bunch this year in round 3. Don't
do that.
Don't do that. Like if you can't get Kelsey, one of the podcasts I listened to this week was talking about 2023. Is Travis Kelce the number 1 overall pick?
Wow.
And it's so crazy because and I told you guys, I was like, to me this year, Travis Kelce was a number 1 pick. He was a first round pick. Like you could not be upset with taking Travis Kelce in the first round. And there was kind of playback at that.
No, I agreed, but I didn't have the conviction that you had. You were high, and I was just like, high second round.
And now I really do think we're going to be having this conversation all next summer. We are going to be talking about whether or not we want to take Travis Kelce number 1.
And age is going to be a big part of that conversation.
And it's the only question, though. And that was the only question this year.
Yep. All right, so we'll have that during the off season.
Can't wait.
All right, and like I said, I spent a lot of money in my other spots. If you were listening there, I spent some cash, so I had to save some cash.
He likes to punt.
So
He's a Steeler. He likes to punt.
I went with the Titans at defense. Stone cold minimum, baby.
I almost did that. I actually like them this week.
Well,
I do.
For 2,200, and
that's the best minimum play I've seen all year.
And they average 7 points. They're going to score some points.
Because typically the team that's on the minimum is Houston,
right,
or Cleveland, or who else this year has been really bad on defense. Actually, none of the teams have been historically bad on defense this year. Just Houston. But
it's been more matchup. But yeah.
Yeah, actually that's interesting now that I think about it, because there hasn't been a whole lot of teams that you just we're playing against that team, we target that team on defense. It's really just been Houston this year.
Oh.
No, it hasn't. You target their offense.
I'm kidding.
Now you target their defense. And now that 99's gone, oh my God, that guy is a freak. Anyway.
All right, so Titans defense seemed like a value play, and then I only had 2,800 left for my flex.
Oh boy!
So I went with Isaiah Likely. It is Isaiah, right? I don't even know.
It is.
Likely,
I hate that. Actually, I want you to change that so bad
because
if that comes to fruition, that hurts so many of my fantasy teams. Because that means something bad happened to Mark Andrews.
No,
probably.
And honestly, it doesn't. I think
really
that they're going to be utilizing both tight ends.
I
week.
told you I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And they like him a lot.
Right.
And
like
they
they're going to
don't
be running
like their receivers at all.
Exactly. And so I think he's got a nice little floor for 2,800. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. My cash lineup, I love. Actually, this is going to be really one of our most fun weeks. I wish this was our cash lineup and not our tournament lineup, because my tournament lineup is the antithesis of yours.
Okay.
I have Jared Goff for $5,300. I've got Josh Jacobs at $7,900. I've got DeAndre Swift at $5,600. At wide receiver, I've got Zay Jones. I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I got away from Garrett Wilson by playing Corey Davis for $4,900. Now, Corey Davis is has been very, very quiet most of the year.
And hurt.
He had more than 70% of the snaps last week. Elijah Moore had less than 50%, and Denzel Mims had less than 30%.
They don't like Elijah Moore, man.
They don't like. They
don't
They
like him.
love Corey Davis.
They do.
They love
They do. I
themselves some
agree.
Corey Davis.
I agree.
They were working him back into the fold last week. It was a rainy game. It wasn't a very good opportunity for him to get back on track. I feel like that's this week.
It's a
There's
very
gonna be
high
a
risk,
lot-
high reward play.
Yeah,
I like
and
it.
we're playing tournament.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I like it.
And he is my puntiest play on my tournament lineup for $4,100, and I feel very, very, very good about him. I think he's going to score this weekend. And he is like, so we know, like everybody is hot and bothered about Garrett Wilson right now.
Yep.
So what happens when they put coverage on him, right? Coverage is going to come off somebody else. So who's that going to come off of? It's going to come off of Corey Davis. It's not going to come off of Elijah Moore. It's not Denzel Mims. Don't worry about Tyler Conklin. The second pass catcher that you want this week from the Jets is Corey Davis.
I like the theory.
So I've got Corey Davis, Zay Jones, and Amon St. Brown at receiver. At tight end for $3,600, I got Foster Moreau.
Fair enough.
Not Moreau. Moreau.
Now, I will always say Moreau.
Not Moreau.
He
It's
is
not
the island of Dr.
he's-
Moreau. That's who he is.
He does not like that.
I do.
It's Morrow. It's Morrow. Okay.
Don't care.
It's Morrow. It's Foster Morrow.
Whatever.
Anyway, and then in my flex, at $8,500, I've got Austin. I just like doing that every once in a while.
I was like, man, he's not spending any
Yeah.
cash. Okay.
Austin Eckler at $8,500. So Austin. So my main stack is going to be Jared Goff with Amon St. Brown and DeAndre Swift. I'm going to stack against them with Zay Jones, and then my secondary stack is going to be Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler and Foster Moreau.
Wow, 2 running backs in the same game. That's a risky prop.
Yeah, but it's Austin Eckler.
No, dude, I get it because he's
basically a
receiving.
receiver.
Yeah.
And
Still
Austin,
risky, but I get it.
Austin Eckler is never risky. It's crazy talk. And then for $3,000, I've got the Green Bay Packers defense.
What?
All right, spent up on Green Bay.
So what a busy. We'll get to your questions here in a second. Are you done with that?
I am all done.
Okay, so my last, just kind of throwing it out there. We started doing the tournament games, like kind of like paying attention to them. Maybe like halfway through the season, maybe 3 or 4 games into the season. So we really haven't been tracking it. So that being said, I think I've maybe got a little bit of cash, maybe out of 2, 3, or 4 tournament lineups so far. So my tournament lineup is actually the opposite of Ken. I'm going actually Jacksonville heavy. So I'm going to start with Trevor Lawrence at Jacksonville, where one of my players for the game is going to be Derrick Henry for Tennessee, and that's going to coincide with my defense. I'll explain that here in a second. But I'm also going with Swift from Detroit, Boyd from Cincinnati, Kirk from Jacksonville.
How much was Tyler Boyd? Sorry.
5,300.
Okay.
Kirk from Jacksonville, St. Brown from Detroit, Ingram from Jacksonville, Allen from as my flex from the Chargers, and then my defense is Tennessee. And the reason why I picked the defense for Tennessee is, 1, they're cheap. 2, I feel like Tennessee has been doing a pretty good job of just staying on the field, right? So, which means their defense doesn't have to work as hard.
They're good at slowing the game down.
So-
I said earlier they have done a really good job at bringing other teams down to their level.
Yep.
They are very good at slowing the game down.
And that's a combination of
And-
using Derrick Henry to keep them
And so-
offenses
and
off the field.
And I think it was a couple weeks ago they were playing the Chiefs in primetime, and Mike Vrabel talked about that, how important it was just to get a first down. Like it was like to him, I can't remember exactly what he said, but my takeaway was how impressed I was that he put such an importance, such a paramount on getting the first down of the drive. That is very important to Tennessee's offense. Is making sure that they control the clock.
Yep.
They want to make sure that they take a certain amount of time off the clock and shrink the game. They want to make sure that they stay in the game, and they have done that week in and week out.
Yep.
And I don't think this will be any different. Like when I picked them to beat the Eagles, it's not because I think they're just going to like smash them in any way. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think the Titans are going to figure out how to win.
That being said, let's move on to our questions before we wrap up our night. First question: thinking of trading for a stud wide receiver, which running back should I trade? ETN, CMC, or Dameon Pierce?
I would trade Dameon Pierce if
I mean, Dameon Pierce is the least valuable of those three, so I'd trade him if you can. But I mean, it depends on what you're trying to trade for. I mean, obviously, you're going to get a lot less for Dameon Pierce than the other two. I don't think you're going
like. I'd be willing to trade CMC.
And his wide receiver one is Olave, and wide receiver
Because to me,
two is
like
Metcalf.
that's what I was actually getting at. Is I think you can get a haul for CMC.
I agree.
And just the
he could
way
probably get more than he's worth.
Exactly, because the way he's being put into this San Francisco offense, I think he is going to be a huge part in the playoffs and a huge part, like in their playoff run.
But they're saving
holding him back.
Yeah,
absolutely. I really get that feeling that they're just holding him back. They're using when they need it.
And that was another point earlier when I was talking about CMC and talking about how I was disappointed that Elijah Mitchell got hurt, because I feel like they're not going to give him like. You're not going to get the CMC experience that you got from Carolina. Like maybe in the actual NFL playoffs,
yes.
But in the regular season and anything that has to do with fantasy football, I don't think so.
I think you're right.
I think they're going to hold him back, and they can. That's how. And that's
how
that
good
was
their team is.
That was my point in talking about how good they are. Is like I didn't think that they needed Christian McCaffrey to get the Super Bowl. So anyway, I think you could trade him and get yourself a stud receiver and bring something back running back wise, if you wanted to do that.
And he's thinking about targeting Devontae Adams.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one to
If
target.
you get Devontae and a little extra.
It's just difficult to find. I think probably the hardest part is finding a trade partner right now, because you're either dealing with somebody who's also like they're chasing a championship, or you're dealing with somebody who's not paying attention anymore.
Well, and that's the thing, is this is really late. Like most leagues don't accept trades.
I still
trades
have
at this
my
point,
league,
so.
my work league, my ESPN work league. There's still people are still trading. Like
Okay.
someone traded Dameon Pierce for Justin Herbert last week. I'm pretty pissed off about it. The team is like right behind me. They got Justin Herbert.
You're gonna get that kind of stuff. Yeah,
So-
I get it.
And that one's close. That's a close trade. But anyway, yeah, I would be weary about trading CMC away just because of how scared I am personally of Dameon Pierce the rest of the season, and not because of Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce looks
Because of
fine.
that offense.
It's the offense. The offense looks so inept. They have a complete lack of confidence.
Yeah, honestly, from what I'm seeing from your team there, I'd probably be willing to stand pat. But if you can get a great trade for either Pierce or McCaffrey, I'd go for it.
That would be the way to go. But don't let go of ETN.
Yeah, and don't go for even value. If you think it's an even value trade, don't do it.
Just don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good with what you have. But if you think you can get extra value, if you think you can get a little more than what McCaffrey or Pierce is worth, then I'd go for it. Any other questions?
That's it. We're all caught up. Yep, he's thinking about targeting Devontae Adams. Yep, we're all caught up. So, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Ken, you want to spit
we
out?
are running out of weeks to do this way too fast.
Dude, it's going quick. It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you to everybody who's been with us.
Absolutely,
we really, really, really appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun for us doing it.
And Wadabeezy, man, thank you for being out there all
Yeah,
the time.
you're the
I think
man.
Juan's out there a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
That's it. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a great week, guys. Crush it.
See
Get
ya.
the playoffs.
Peace.
Playoffs. Playoffs. You talking about playoffs?